keeps on giving, Don. On a day when you go, what exactly is the top story in sports? Is it Juan Soto being back in the lineup?
No, not today.
Is it? We found out Kristaps Porzingis might be dinged up for, which is a story, but
not today, brother.
Is that the story, or is it the fact that Aaron Rodgers is getting an unexcused absence from minicamp?
I don't want to sound like Michael K. Do we have the Darlington audio?
Oh, we do. I got all that. What do you want? Where do you want to start?
I need to, because I want to jump off on the Jeff Darlington stuff from ESPN.
Okay.
Because I don't want to sound like Michael K. But words matter. They do. Excused, unexcused, okay with it. All these little catchphrases that are around A-Raj. What exactly is going on that he's not at minicamp? What is it? Are the Jets cool with it or not? And the question when Jeff Darlington was asked, are the Jets...
Hold on, here's what we're going to do. If this is okay.
Okay,
hold on. I want everyone to settle down first.
I was the only one talking, so you're telling me to settle down. I mean, Anthony and Jacob...
No, Anthony was talking. Anthony was talking. I want him to settle down. I want him. I want you. I want me.
But you're telling me to settle down.
I'm saying to all of us, let's all settle down. First, we're going to break this down to a fine powder like you wouldn't believe.
Snort it right into our
you can snort it. You can snort it. You can pour it into a smoothie and drink it. Okay, that's what we're doing. But first, I want to hit you just to get started, because when we go deep, we're going all the way deep.
Sure, why not?
A quick game time brought to you by Tullamore Dew Irish Whiskey, all right? Baseball tonight locally, Mets-Marlins 7:10, and Yankees-Royals at 8:10. You can't wait for it. You can't wait. You're shot out of a cannon thinking about it.
That's like actually the starting gun to the show. So I started running before.
No. Everyone slow down.
What was the Seinfeld, the coach? Coach Bevilacqua?
I want related to Matthew Bevilacqua. Right. That's Game Time brought to you by Tullamore Dew Irish Whiskey. You know when it's game time, it's Tully time.
Why not?
Tullamore Dew, the original triple distilled, triple blended, and triple cast matured Irish whiskey. Be sure to grab a Tully or try the brand new Tullamore Dew Honey during tonight's action. Glasses up to enjoying Tullamore Dew responsibly. Now, here's what I really want to slow down and do. It's been recommended to me that we listen to this fine audio, which normally you have no time for, but today that you're going to want to hear all of it. So we're going to go in order if you don't mind. We're going to start with Bob Salah, and then we're going to get to Jeffrey Aloysius Darlington. Here's Robert Salah confirming the absences at Jets minicamp.
So we've got two inexcused absences. One obviously being Hassan. Spoke to him over the weekend. Appreciate the dialogue. He's in a really good place mentally, working his tail off like we all. I
thought that was the story of the day.
He's choosing to sit out this one, inexcused. The second one is Aaron. Aaron and I spoke before OTA started. He's been very good in communication. He's been here the entire time. It's inexcused, but he had an event that was very important to him, which he communicated.
I want a little follow-up here.
Both are inexcused.
Both inexcused, yes.
So are they getting fined? Reddick?
They're both subject to the CBA fine schedule.
All right. Let's move on from Reddick and say first with Rodgers. No offense to Reddick. Are you disappointed, Coach, that Aaron Rodgers is missing minicamp?
No, it's, again, selfishly, I want all our guys here all the time. But, when you get to these mandatory things, it's, you make the best decision for yourself. And obviously, selfishly, want all of them here all the time. But he made a decision, and that's what he went with.
All right. Was Rodgers here yesterday?
He was here yesterday, so he came through yesterday. He had his physical. He did the multimedia day or the media day and all that stuff. So he was, but like I said, he had something that was very important to him, and if it's important to him, it's important to us.
Will he be? He's not been back here at all.
No,
it's important to us. Okay, now to Jeff Darlington.
Okay.
Here's Darlington on SportsCenter on Rodgers missing minicamp.
If there is any looming drama to come out of this, and perhaps it will be squashed once some people communicate, the question is whether Aaron Rodgers knew that this was excused or unexcused when he did communicate it to Robert Salah. So like anything with the Jets, we do have a little bit of looming drama. But I will say the Jets are trying to make very clear that they are okay, even if it's unexcused, with Aaron Rodgers not being at minicamp.
Yeah. All right, so that doesn't make any sense to me. And this is where I jumped off a little too quick. I apologize.
It's hard. No, please.
That words matter. Because if it's inexcused, then you have unexcused. Somebody was saying inexcused. I guess it was Bob.
It's inexcusable, but it's unexcused.
Right, unexcused. But didn't Salah say whatever? All right, that's where I got confused. I'm like, all right, well, he's the coach of the Jets, and maybe I know more. I'm not usually one that wins the language face-off, so I'm kind of proud.
That's true.
If it was unexcused, then you have a problem with it. If it's excused, then you don't have a problem with it. So if the Jets don't have a problem with it, Peter, then it would be excused. If it's unexcused, then you got a problem with it. Like that's where I'm losing.
Okay, could it be? I'm just going to push back. Could it be? We don't have a problem with it. Do what you got to do. But this technically falls into the unexcused category. So for the sake of other players, media, etc., it's going to be considered unexcused. But no, we don't care. Go ahead, do your thing, Aaron Rodgers.
I guess, if you want to say the semantics of the fine, I guess, because he will be fined for this, I'm assuming. Robert Salah said he's subject to getting the CBA fine. That doesn't necessarily mean he'll get it. Hassan Reddick's going to get it because he's holding out for more money. So that I get. But if you're cool with it, then there should be no fine. Here's where I think we're at. The Jets have to label it as unexcused because we're eventually going to find out why he's missing. And it might make the Jets look bad if they told you that they were cool with it. So is he going to the Robert Kennedy event in California?
I can't be that.
All right. So you say it can't be that. You say it can't be that. But if it's that, if the Jets are okay with that, then that makes the Jets look bad. If they say it's unexcused and we start questioning where Rodgers is, the Jets are off the hook because they say that it was unexcused.
I love Bobby.
You follow?
Sure.
Now, the reason the Jets are okay with it is because who's stopping them? Who's going to tell Aaron Rodgers he can't do what he wants to do? So that's where the semantics all come from. They are saying this is unexcused because we're going to find out where he is, and we're going to be like, the Jets can't be cool with that. Well, they're not cool with it because it was unexcused. If it was excused, to be like, I guess the Jets are on board with him going and campaigning for Robert Kennedy or wherever he ends up going. Right? To a mushroom convention someplace in San Diego.
I love shrooms.
Whatever it is. So I'm not trying to make a big deal out of it, but it's the semantics of is it excused or unexcused? I just found it interesting with Jeff Darling saying they're okay with it, but it's unexcused. So it just seems like one doesn't fit with the other. But ultimately, Peter, and this is no knock on the Jets, it's what was created when you brought Aaron Rodgers in, and he forfeited all that money to fit star players under the cap. Is that in what world can Robert Salah or Joe Douglas say to Aaron Rodgers, no, you can't go. You've got to come to the mandatory OTAs. You got to come to the minicamp. Like, is there anybody with the power of the Jets to tell him, no, you've got to come. Sorry, you can't go to this event. So it just seems like a lot of semantics are being played here, but I feel like it's unexcused because when we find out where he went, I don't think the Jets want to be publicly on board with allowing that to happen.
Here's the real question, right? What would excused be? Do we know?
Well, death in the family.
What about a family event of some sort? Like,
I guess it really depends. Like if it's it's the Rodgers family reunion.
Guess who probably wouldn't go to that?
Well, we know Aaron wouldn't go because, or his brother. Somebody wouldn't attend.
I love Bobby.
I'm sorry if there's a Rodgers family reunion for those 3 days. You're going to have to Skype or Zoom to say hello to everybody. You can't go. If God forbid your mom's ill or your wife's undergoing some treatment or you got something with the family, of course that's going to be excused. But he's missing for an event. So people are speculating that in a couple of days there is going to be an event for Robert Kennedy in California, some 3,000 miles away.
I love Bobby.
Now, the argument would be, well, it's not until a couple of days from now, so why couldn't he attend today? I mean, you could take a quick flight after practice to go hang with Bobby and then fly back for the other day. I don't know. But that seems to be the social media speculation, is that Robert Kennedy's got an event. and that Rodgers is going to go. I don't know what the event is. I'm sure we're going to find out, Peter.
We will. I have to imagine.
But you understand what I'm saying is that whatever the event is, it's going to be something that's going to be in question, and the Jets have already made the statement by saying that it's unexcused.
1-800-919-3776. You know who was waiting when the show started today.
Oh, yeah. It was yesterday.
Ira in Staten Island. Hey, Ira.
How are you?
Hey, Peter. Hey, Don. How are you? You can't make this stuff up. And it's funny. I was out there today, and if I have this right from what I've read, Salah said that he knew about this either before OTAs or during OTAs, and then just the end of last week, he said everybody's going to attend. So if he knew about Rodgers not showing up today, why didn't he say at the end of last week? Okay,
I don't know.
So whether it's an event, but it seems like Salah was well aware of this, or
he said he was aware. That's right.
Okay. The one thing is, until this thing is proven where he was, I'm going under the assumption that maybe his arm is tired, maybe he tweaked something and they're just letting him rest. So I do hope that they show a picture of him, at a children's hospital doing some charity at whatever event he's going to. I want to see that because I hope he's healthy. Until I see something, I want to make sure this guy's healthy.
But if it's something, but if it is something, then why not just say he's excused? Why unexcused?
It makes no sense. To me, it's way of.
Well, the only reason I would say is we're going to find out where he is, and by the Jets saying he was unexcused, takes them off the hook for allowing it. And that's why I think that this Robert Kennedy event could be where he's going, because the Jets don't want to make it seem like they were on board, where everybody was expected to be at practice. He wasn't there because he's going campaigning, for Kennedy. So the Jets could be off the hook by saying, well, it was unexcused. But then you can't say that you're okay with it because you made it unexcused. So that's what drives me a little crazy.
It gets you crazy. All I do, whatever this thing is, if it is an event and whether it's a Kennedy or not, I just hope like the Thursday before the opener, he doesn't have to go to a campaign and he misses a game prep before they play the 49ers opening week.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, this is conversation that's not going to matter if he's healthy and ready for training camp.
Correct.
But in typical Jet fashion, it just seems like it's something.
Well, and remember, he didn't play last year. So because he didn't, Don, we're still, when we talk Aaron Rodgers, we're still talking all the things except the playing of football, because he hasn't played football as a Jet. So all of these things seem like a bigger deal until we have another story to cover. And we just don't know when we're going to get that.
And Hassan Reddick is not nothing either. I mean, this is a major acquisition that is going to really help this defense. And already there's an issue. Now, that was good that Robert Salah said they spoke, and it's all cool, and it's not the end of the world. But it is something to kind of keep an eye on, because if he ends up missing training camp and becomes an issue and a holdout, that's going to hurt this team moving forward. Rodgers, it's just kind of a soap opera that makes it kind of fun to talk about, and the semantics of it all. And boy, it would be interesting if he did go to that event, Peter.
Now, here's Rich Cimini on DNR earlier. Did Joe Douglas overplay his hand with Hassan Reddick?
Certainly looking like he did. Now, look, this could end in a second. I mean, maybe they guarantee his money this year, although I don't. That would be a very small concession, because basically his money's guaranteed this year anyway. I mean, the Jets are not going to cut the player this year. So for all intents and purposes, that $14 million and change is going to be guaranteed. So I don't know if that would appease Reddick. They might have to do some sweetening on the contract. But, yeah, I think he probably misplayed his hand a little bit, and maybe the player changed his mind, after the trade happened, knowing the kind of pickle it would put the Jets in. That's possible, too. But right now, I think, the Jets are going to have a situation here.
So far, he's skipped the entire offseason program and all 9 OTA practices. So, not exactly what you want with a new acquisition.
No, but it's June. I'm not going to flip out about it, but it's something certainly to keep an eye on, for sure. I think this is way more important than the Rodgers stuff, to be honest with you. It's not as sexy because it's Aaron Rodgers. because Rodgers
But no,
will show up. But
this could have a result that is something.
This is certainly something.
We know that the Rodgers thing is going to land with him being back and attempting to be starting quarterback. That's not a question. What happens with Reddick is somewhat in question. Here is Ken. Let's hear from good old Ken in Connecticut. Hey, Ken.
Hey, good morning. Good afternoon, guys. So, with chess, once again, it's the tail wagging the dog. And if this is RFK related, it's not like the political tenor is going to decrease as it gets closer to football season and during. But, I mean, I personally feel like, if he doesn't come out with starting from the gate with an MVP type season, if the Jets start losing right away, it's going to get even uglier quicker than we thought.
It definitely puts a lot of pressure on him for sure, but he needs this. He needs this to work. See, that's why ultimately I'm kind of okay, because at the end of the day, whether his motivations are pure or not, as far as like helping the Jets or caring about the Jets, he wants this second Super Bowl. He knows how important this is for his legacy. So I have to think at the end of the day, he's going to be ready to play and want to be successful. It may not be for all of the reasons. It might be for selfish reasons, Peter, but the Jets benefit from that. Aaron Rodgers needs this to work. So, yeah, the tail's probably wagging the dog, and he's probably got a lot more say than a lot of other athletes deserve to have. But he's got to make this work. He needs that second Super Bowl. How would this look on his legacy if it ends up being 2 years of lack of production and not playing and hurt and not winning and not making the playoffs? It's going to sully everything that he's trying to accomplish here. So he's got to make this work. Whether it's for himself or the Jets still benefit from it.
Let's go to Dove in Huntington. Sorry, not Passaic. Hey, Dove.
It's Dove in Huntington. How are you?
Dove in Huntington. How you doing?
Oh, I am doing fantastic. I would be doing a little bit better if my quarterback was in mandatory camp. This is my thing on Aaron Rodgers. The dude's acting like a straight-up hypocrite, which I'm not surprised about given his reputation. But he was the one who specifically came out this offseason and said, anything that's not football needs to leave this building. We can't afford to have any distractions. And here we are. He's just created a massive distraction, and he's not focusing on football. So, this dude better play like the best quarterback I've ever seen as a Jet.
I love Bobby.
Because if he doesn't, he's going to get ridden out of town on a rail, man. He's acting like a clown, so he better back it up with football.
Well, he's got, like I said, he has to make this work.
Early point God nom. Write it down.
Yeah,
early point God nom.
He has to make this work. So you talk about getting run out of town. Yeah, that's obvious, but how would it look on his legacy? Manning went to Denver, won a Super Bowl. Brady went to Tampa, won a Super Bowl. Joe Montana went to Kansas City, went to a championship game. He wants to dance with those types of guys. And going to the Jets to try to extend his career to get that second Super Bowl and have the first season end on 4 plays before he throws a pass and have the second season end in failure, that's going to reflect poorly on him. But it's so right about the distractions. But I guess what he would say is, well, you guys are making a distraction. I don't think my team's cool with it. Robert Saleh's cool with it. They all have my back. But in a season that's so damn important, what could be so much more important, Peter, than being at the mandatory mini camp at the start of maybe the biggest season of your career?
After your last season ended the way that it ended.
Now, I don't know what it is. It might be a major event that we'll look back at and go, well, of course he's got to go to that event. But if it ends up going, and I'm not making any kind of political statement, but how would it look in it's a very important season, he decides, you know what, going to campaign for Robert Kennedy is more important than being a mandatory minicamp. After I told my teammates, no more distractions. It's got to be all about football. And you're the leader of the team. And listen, Reddick's not there, but it's a business decision for him. But what could be more important than being there for your teammates in this colossally big season? What is it?
And I think that's an important note that you just made. It really doesn't matter who the candidate would be. It could be Trump, Biden, Kennedy. It makes no difference. You're not a politician professionally. You being at an event just isn't that important.
Well, I mean, the fans want to know what is more important than football. What is it? And when we hear what it is, Peter, and I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt. I don't want to beat up on the guy because maybe it'll be something and we'll go, all right, that kind of makes sense. But I want to hear what it is, and I think the fans deserve to know what it is.
Here's the words from Rodgers that our previous caller, Dove, was referring to from back in January.
You want to be a winning organization and to put yourself in position to win championships and be competitive. Everything that you do matters, and the bullshit that has nothing to do with winning needs to get out of the building. So that'll be the focus moving forward.
Since then, I do recall there's been a couple of things, Don, distractions that have come up. Aaron Rodgers, if I recall.
Well, the whole idea that he did not completely squelch the whole idea of being the vice president for Robert Kennedy.
Yep.
Kind of let that kind of hang out there to get that attention instead of just squashing it and saying, listen, there's no truth to it whatsoever. But it's all semantics, right? Because he'll turn around and go, well, it's not a distraction. My teammates are cool with it. I've been in the league for 20 years. I don't have to be a mandatory mini camp. They know that where I am. My team's cool with it. You guys are making it a distraction. All right, well, what's a distraction, Peter? A distraction is something that turns people's attention away from the task at hand. So instead of talking about football and preparing for football, this is the conversation.
Let's keep things going with the people. Let's go to Joe in Staten Island. What's up, Joe?
Hey, guys. How you doing today?
Good.
I just have to disagree with a couple of things. One, do you guys know for a fact that he's doing something right now at RFK?
No. We didn't say we did.
We do not know what
all
the event
we know is that it's unexcused. So whatever the event is, the Jets are not on board with it, at least publicly, by saying it's unexcused.
No, I hear you, but I just want to say, you did bring it up a couple of seconds ago. He's been in the league a long time. The type of guy he is, I don't think he thinks of it as, if I don't win another Super Bowl, my career was terrible. I think he's very content with his career.
Well, then why is he doing it?
Because it's icing on the cake, and he loves it. I think he does enjoy the spotlight, obviously, and he is still probably a good quarterback. We don't know, but I still believe that he could be. But missing one day in a mini camp, I mean, to make it a big deal like this, it's not.
No, I don't disagree with anything, Joe. I think everything you just said was reasonable.
I just think Hassan Reddick, that is a cause for pause, because I mean, I've heard a lot today. The Jets did talk to him before the trade, so they should have ironed out those details.
Right.
Yeah.
To make sure that he would not miss this. That was very important, because you don't get rid of. I can't. Who'd they give to the Eagles? It's slipping my mind.
Huff.
Yeah, yes. You don't do all that and then trade John Franklin Myers, and then you need to make sure Hassan Reddick was on board 100%, whether he gets paid or not. If it was a prove it deal, fine. But obviously there was not the communication wasn't there, because this guy who came in and said, you guys are going to be very happy with what you see, or whatever he said. He needs to be on the field and be a leader, because if he still has anything left in the tank, this is the year to prove it, and next year he'll get paid.
No, dude, Joe, I don't disagree with anything you said. I fully admit the Rodgers thing is more interesting to speculate on. The Reddick story is bigger.
Well, we know Reddick is holding out for money.
But that's the thing. You know what it is.
We know what. And
we may disagree with it, but we know what it is.
But I find it interesting from the caller, Joe, right?
That's right.
Well, you got to be there for your teammates. You're a leader. Well, that's what Aaron Rodgers is. So I understand Aaron Rodgers doesn't.
Wait, you're saying quarterback is the leader?
Quarterback. He's a really. And listen, is it the end of the world that he's not there? No, but 2 minutes ago, Peter just played all that we don't need any distractions. It's got to be all about football. He's not there. Unexcused absence from the team. Why? And what I would ask Joe is, would you be cool with it if he's going out there to hang with Robert Kennedy? If you are, then good for you. And again, it's not a political statement. It's just like, all right, is that more important than getting ready and being there for your teammates? Everybody else is expected to be there. It is mandatory. He will be fined for not being there.
Unexcused. That word was used also, right?
Yes.
So, yeah. There'll be a lot of things to get into. Juan Soto is back, as we mentioned earlier.
Got a hit.
got himself a hit. Yankees got themselves a win. Kristaps Porzingis popped up on the injury report.
It sounds really bad, and then they said it's day-to-day.
Yeah, we'll get into that as well, and we'll get more of your phone calls at 1-800-919-3776. We got a big show today. Peter and Don on the K Show on Yes and ESPN New York. Good friend Don just brought me a delightful coffee with a tad of oat milk. I appreciate you very much.
And I appreciate you.
Appreciate what you've done.
I feel bad for Jet fans.
Go ahead, Don. I'm here to listen.
I'm glad I'm not on social media right now. I'm still endeavoring to try to get my Twitter back.
Please don't endeavor too hard.
Well, I did have to make an effort. I had to send my driver's license over to them to prove who I am. So they're still endeavoring.
Wait. Why did you cave and do that?
You know why I did it?
Because if you did miss the show yesterday, Don said, now they want me to send my driver's license in. This may be a bridge too far. Maybe it's my time to get out.
Yeah. Why'd you cave? I'm going to tell you why I caved. Because there are people up in Bristol that are endeavoring to try to get this done for me, and I don't want to make their efforts go for naught. But even more important than that is that Anthony Pusick is amazing at sending us information throughout the day on our text thread of breaking news, possible topics to discuss.
Yeah.
And a lot of times what he does, he'll send us a Twitter notification from something Woj reported or Rich Cimini reported. I can't open it because I'm no longer on Twitter. So now I got to text him, and then he's got to screenshot it for me because I can't open it up. And then he forgets and he gets aggravated. I want to do it for him.
Wow.
But I'll tell you, I'm not doing anything else. If there's anything else that has to be done, Anthony, I'm sorry.
I'm
out.
I'm happy with this step.
I sent the driver's license. I took the picture, downloaded it, sent it over to the X people.
I like what you did.
And then that's it. That's all I'm doing. But I'm sure I'm getting inundated with tweets from people, Jet fans. Oh, what do you got to go after Aaron Rodgers for? Who cares? It's minicamp. It's stupid. Let him do what he wants to do. I got to know Jet fans, even though I did not grow up a Jet fan. I feel like I'm one of you guys because I worked 16 years with Greg Buttle doing pre and post, and involved in that was talking to you guys every single Sunday in the post-game show. And the great thing about Jet fans is you smell a fraud, you jump on anything negative because you guys are really educated about football. And so you're killing everybody, the best players, the best coaches, because ultimately you want to win. But the one guy you seem to give a little bit more leash to than anybody else maybe in the history of the organization is Aaron Rodgers. Why? Because Aaron Rodgers is your ticket to the Super Bowl that you've never seen. So what Rodgers ends up becoming is the real attractive girlfriend that cheats on you. You can't take it. You dump her under any other circumstances, but you really, really enjoy her being your girlfriend, so you kind of live with it. And that's what it is that you'll defend him because you know that he's your ticket. He's your best shot at finally winning that elusive Super Bowl. And I get it. And I don't think it's that big of a deal either, and we're going to find out what this excuse is, but it's always something. And in a season that's so damn important. And the last caller, this is sugar on top. No, he understands. Rodgers gets it. He's smart. He understands what Kurt Warner's saying, that you need that second Super Bowl. He's not doing this for blanks and giggles, Peter. He wants to add to his legacy. And why not? If he could still play, go out there and try to win a championship. I think it's important to him, Peter. I don't think this is gravy on a great career. I think he's trying to make that bold statement and beat Tom Brady and beat Joe Montana and beat Peyton Manning.
And if I'm a Jets fan, I'm not happy if he views it as icing. I don't want him to view this as icing.
I don't think he's going to be 41 years old in December. He knows he's going to the Hall of Fame, but he also knows that second Super Bowl someplace else to slay a dragon will be important to his ultimate legacy. I think he wants to win. And now, in a big season, time's running out, man. Sand through the hourglass. He's going to be 41 in December. Shouldn't be messing around with anything but football right now.
And by the way, the way things went last year, it's even more incentive as to why this isn't gravy or icing this year. He's got to show something, man. He can't go out sad.
I think he wants to.
Aaron Rodgers cannot go out sad. That's not an option. Let's go to... Oh, this is so perfect. Let's go to Bobby.
I love Bobby.
Yeah.
On Long Island.
That's right.
Yeah.
Hey, Bobby.
How are you?
We're good, Bobby.
I love Bobby.
Listen, this guy talks about all the BS going on in the Jets. Newsflash to Rodgers. You're bringing all the BS to the Jets. I mean, the Timbo, the RFK, the weed. I mean, it's just ridiculous. I mean, Donna, I love you, man, but you actually said that this guy's better than Joe Montana when you were on with Dan over the summer.
Well, as a player, he meant his talent.
As a talent,
There's no way he's better than Joe Montana. I mean,
sure. I believe so.
Well, 14 and 5. You lived through those Giants.
No, I did. I did. He was amazing. He was amazing, but I think Rodgers is amazing too.
He thinks Rodgers is a better talent.
Now he didn't go 4 for 4. I get it.
But not even the Super Bowls. He's 12-10 postseason record. Montana was 14-5 until he went to the Chiefs.
Right.
And I think he was doing there.
Well, I think Elway's even better than Montana. Is that a wrong opinion to have?
I don't think so. 11-0.
No, but you're getting about wins and losses and not thinking about the teams they were on. Wasn't there an onside kick that cost Green Bay a chance to advance against the Seattle Seahawks? That had nothing to do with Aaron Rodgers. You're throwing out numbers and records. I understand how important the quarterback position is, but those 49er teams were loaded with an absolute genius as a head coach. I mean, don't even talk about McCarthy in relation to Bill Walsh. Oh, my God. Bill Walsh? He's one of the greatest coaches, one of the greatest offensive minds in the history of the sport. You don't think Joe Montana benefited from that?
But Aaron Rodgers had Mike McCarthy, for God's sake.
Well, that's what I'm saying. And John Elway, take a look at those Bronco teams. Take a look at the offense that he had. All right, so I can't win the argument if you think Joe Montana is the greatest because he was 4-0 and what his record was in the postseason. Those 49er teams were amazing. Those Green Bay teams, and I know he's got some tough losses on his resume. From a talent standpoint, I think Aaron Rodgers is one of the greatest quarterbacks I've ever seen. And I would have John Elway as the greatest that I ever saw. And John Elway was 0 for 3 in the Super Bowl before he got Terrell Davis.
At his absolute best, physically speaking, Aaron Rodgers is the best quarterback I've ever seen play.
And that's obviously subjective.
That's how I feel.
But don't throw out record to me. Then you must have Terry Bradshaw very high. He was 4-0 in the Super Bowl. You must have Troy Aikman very high. He had an unbelievable record. Listen, I thought Troy Aikman was a great quarterback, Peter. Is he in the list of the top 10 quarterbacks I've ever seen? No. Look at that offensive line. Emmitt Smith. Harper. Irvin, Novacek, who I think could very easily be in the Hall of Fame, and then Jimmy Johnson.
Let's go to Regina in Staten Island. Hey, Regina.
Hi, Regina.
Hi.
Hi.
How are you guys?
Oh, terrific.
First time, long time.
Well, welcome.
Thank you. So I just feel that Aaron Rodgers came to New York just to be political.
No, I think he came to New York because that was the team he was able to be traded to, and he wanted to go win another Super Bowl.
I don't think so. I don't think he gives a crap about winning anywhere.
Let me ask you this, and you're entitled to your opinion, but he's Aaron Rodgers. He plays in the most popular sport in this country.
Big name.
Does he need to be in New York to be able to forward his cause?
I think so.
He was a weekly on McAfee before he became a Jet.
Yeah, like if he goes somewhere else and you don't think he can make the same noise?
Doesn't mean anything. I think being in New York is very, your word stands out.
I agree.
He didn't play last year, so
but Regina,
we can't even know how he's going to be.
I can't believe you have me defending Aaron Rodgers, but has he really come out and said any one thing? Like, he hasn't had a political agenda. To me, he's almost just had an annoying agenda. Like,
I think he's always had a political agenda.
But since he got here, what is the real agenda that he's had?
Well, New York, your word gets out there.
But let me.
But why all of a sudden, he can't play? He's got a disexcused. He can be there, and
that we don't know what it's for. But just getting back to your original point about his opinions and the things that he has done, he was on the Green Bay Packers, one of the most popular teams in sports, in the ayahuasca and going into the dark room and being a weekly on McAfee. All happened before he was traded to the Jets. He was a hot button guy in Green Bay, Wisconsin, because he plays football and he's a great quarterback. So no matter where he is, he has the platform to get his information out. But to Peter's point, I mean, all right, he wants to vote for Robert Kennedy, but I think he's kind of out there with his conspiracy theories.
Wait,
but
you said he wants to vote for who now?
Robert Kennedy.
I love Bobby.
But I don't think he's been outwardly political.
No, I don't think so either.
He's said some controversial things.
But it wasn't political directly. He's just annoying. He just likes to talk.
No, he likes to talk. He's very opinionated. But I think we like to label uncomfortable speech, Peter, as political.
Yeah, especially these days.
I don't think he's overly political. No. Other than the Kennedy stuff, which I guess he's entitled. Heck, the owner of the team has no problem being a Donald Trump supporter. I mean, you're entitled to support the candidate you want to support, but he's I don't even want to say forward thinker. He's a thinker. He's got opinions, and that's the only thing I'd accuse him of being, is opinionated. I don't think he's overly political. I don't know if he's a Donald Trump guy. I don't know if he's a Biden guy. I know he's anti-vaccine, but is that political?
Well, I know that last week, this sums up Aaron Rodgers. We didn't talk about it much. Last week, when Trump walked by him at UFC 302, he didn't get up and jump to his attention to say hello to him. And people got mad about people got mad about that. Then he posted a picture shaking hands with him. People got mad about that. Well, I think he just likes. I think he likes people talking. He likes to get the people going.
And again, I don't think he's an overly political guy. I think he's very opinionated and controversial, but not necessarily political. So let me ask you this: even if you were anti-Trump or Biden, and I'm not talking about way out there where you're protesting and waving flags or whatever. You're just somebody that would vote for Biden or somebody that would vote for Trump. The average Joe. How do you think you would react, just in your own mind's eye, if either of the candidates, the one you would not vote for, stuck out their hand to shake yours? What would you do? I would say,
just have this conversation.
I would venture to say, in the high 90 percentile, you'd shake his hand.
Yes.
I'm not saying you'd give him a hug. I wouldn't say you'd jump up and down and burst into tears. But if you're a Biden guy and Trump stuck out his hand, or you're a Trump guy and Biden stuck out his hand, I'd say somewhere above 95% of the time, you'd cordially shake his hand and move on.
I think you're probably right.
Now, you won't say that.
No.
Publicly. Oh, are you kidding me? I'd walk right away from him. I wouldn't even give him the time of day. But I'm telling you,
I know, when the president of the United States,
or the former president of the United States, whichever.
Yeah, it's tough.
Because it's all tough talk. But at the end of the day, do you know how uncomfortable it would be for you to not shake his hand?
Oh, it would be. You'd have to really be a man of principle.
And I'm not judging you.
No.
I'm just saying, I think that's kind of where you're at. To defend Aaron Rodgers, I think he handled it exactly the way anybody would.
And I'm defending Rodgers too on the statement that Regina made. I don't think the word is political. We use that in a lazy way. He just has a lot of opinions. Some of them are ones people don't like, but he hasn't gotten to New York and started endorsing candidates and stuff like that. I mean, yes, he's a Bobby Kennedy guy. We know that, but that's because of one specific issue that we all knew Rodgers was already very, very committed to. Now, I want to talk to you guys about something very important right now, and I want you to pay attention. It's a message from my friends at BetterHelp. This year's... You guys kidding me? It's Peter, it's Don, it's the K Show. And guys, this is a really cool announcement I have from our friends and partners at the Yes Network. With so much excitement surrounding the Cricket World Cup, which has been on fire. Don, we were actually talking about it yesterday on the show. And it's taking place at Eisenhower Park on Long Island. And with all the success of the U.S. team, which faces India in a big match tomorrow, the Yes Network has announced a new media partnership to carry Major League Cricket matches this July. And those matches will feature the defending champions, MI New York, which is pretty cool.
That is cool.
So with everyone talking about cricket, which of course we know is just a gigantic worldwide phenomenon, but Don, it may be the first time I remember people in the U.S. talking about it so much. We're going to get some cricket action on the Yes Network.
Well, as I told you, I was at my twins' friend's birthday party, Nakash, and they were watching it on their phone. And I guess you answered the question. I guess India beat Pakistan if they've advanced. And they were all over, and they're explaining it to me, and it's interesting. Because I was asking, it seems like they swing at everything. But the only way to get points is to swing, and I guess if it rolls a certain distance, it's like 4. If you hit it out of the stadium, it's worth 6.
And your bat can keep going beyond just hitting it, right?
Yeah.
You, keep going, no?
Yeah, but
I don't think
they did put limits, because I did say, would it be these ones that go 3 days? He's like, no, they limit for the World Cup, so these are standard games. They're not going days at a time.
I don't think
I don't think Yes limit the number of bowls.
I don't think Yes is going to put us on commentary for these games.
Well, they're not forward thinking.
If you really want to see people, watch people learn the game as they're doing commentary. You know what that would make us, Don? That would make us like most pundits talking about the WNBA right now. Learning about the game as they're talking about it.
Because I want to know about these sports that everybody in the world cares about but us. But the thing about the United States is they'll say, well, nobody in the U.S. cares about cricket or, hurling and rugby. But yet when I drive home today, I'll go down this road where there's this huge park, and 9 times out of 10, if it's a nice day, they're playing cricket. So it may not be what everybody's into, but because we're such a melting pot, people do care about these other overseas type of sports that the rest of the world cares about. And it's kind of like baseball.
It's very much like baseball.
Kind of like football, so you can kind of get into these things. It's hard for me to add more to my plate, but I find it interesting. It's just at this stage of my life to be able to learn something new. But once you kind of understand it,
all right,
it becomes interesting to follow.
Here's the biggest countries for cricket: India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, top 3. Bangladesh, Australia, UAE, Nepal, and now getting over closer to our neck of the woods, and Trinidad and Tobago.
Okay.
South Africa, which is where I first really consumed it. New Zealand, the UK, Jamaica. So there are a lot of people from these demographics that live in this country and watch the game.
And when I vacationed to Bermuda, I saw a lot of it there, too.
Darn right you did. And I heard that the game of baseball that you played with your son the other day went so long, you thought it was cricket.
I thought it was cricket. We played again today.
How long?
Well, I had to get ready for work, thank God.
By the way, so the best part, so Don didn't tell the story in the air the other day, but he told me off the air. So Don is playing baseball with Charlie. I don't know why. He's babysitting Michael's kid with Marco. And Marco's just getting around on everything. He's hitting the ball, blah, blah. Eventually, Don goes, all right, it's been hours. I got to get this kid out. So you tell him, 1 out, and it's over.
Yeah.
1 out, and you're done.
And I'm Nolan Ryan, and I'm throwing as hard as I can. Now, granted, this is not hard in relation to, major leagues, but the kid's 6.
No, the kid is 6, guys. And Don told me, as God is his witness, he starts throwing heat. Don's trying to. Don is now trying, and we're watching. If you're watching on check out the bat wiggle on that 6-year-old, and then the contact. Now that's from an actual game, a playoff game. If you show that again, you got to check out the bat wiggle. And Jacob, did you see it? The confidence of that bat wiggle at 6 years old.
I seen it in the chat. I looked at it, and all I just hear is Don's amazement in the background. And I was like, you know what? That guy's ready.
No, he's ready. He's ready.
Kid is ready.
So then Don now says, I got to get one out because I got to get inside. Don, you couldn't get an out. The kid's getting contact on everything at 6.
He's starting to figure it out. And I love it. And when I say that I fortunately I had to go to work, it's not that I'm having a ball doing this, but my 56-year-old body's like, all right, enough. Because he expects me to go run. I got nobody in the outfield, just me. So when he hits it, I got to go get it. I'm running after it, and we got bases. He's running the bases. It's really been fun doing that, but he's slowly killing me.
You know what you might have to do? How much yard space do you have? You're rich.
We've actually moved it to the front yard. We've got enough space in the backyard, but I'm afraid he's going to hit the house. So I've strategically placed it to where if he does get around and hit it far, it's not going to hit anything. So the front of our house, we've been doing it.
What if do you have to make a little mini batting cage? Like with the nets and a pitching guard to protect you?
Here's the problem. I don't think he would enjoy not knowing how far the ball went.
Right. He's not at the age yet where, the contact is enough that you know. That takes a while.
Yeah. And he's Aaron Judge.
How about some soft toss? Can we do some soft toss into a net? Slow it down. Sit a little bit.
Well, I've used his soccer net as the backstop because the balls kept rolling down the street when he did swing and miss. And it was killing me. So we got the soccer net. Everything's getting utilized there. It's fun.
I see what you're doing. I'm proud of you. We have calls on everything. Cricket now, Aaron Rodgers, the NBA Finals, Shohei Ohtani, and the NHL.
And Marty Lyons reached out to me. His company's the one that did the field over at Eisenhower.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Good for Marty. I love Marty Lyons. We'll get to all your calls. I want to get into the Kristaps Porzingis a bit as well. More on Aaron Rodgers and Hassan Reddick and the Jets. It's the K Show on Yes and ESPN New York. Yeah, you're darn right you do. K Show. 98.7 ESPN New York on the ESPN New York app as well, which I'm a big fan of. Some Diamond Notes brought to you by London Jewelers. Nice Yankee win last night. After losing 2 of 3 over the weekend of the Dodgers, get back to your winning ways with a win over Kansas City. Soto back in the lineup. Goes 1 for 3. Rodon gets the win, 9-2, man. 7 innings, 5 hits, 1 earned run, 2.93 ERA. Don, the Yankees have put together a little pitching rotation minus Garrett Cole, man.
Well, and here's the thing, because it's like a year removed from his meltdown when he couldn't get anybody out. If you remember last year, Rodon, to now he's one of the better pitchers on the staff. But think about what they did last night. Kansas City Royals were 11, 12 games above 500. I know they're in a crappy division, but still.
They were 12 before yesterday.
And Seth Lugo was 9-1, hadn't lost since April. You're playing without Judge. All right, Rizzo was out, but that's probably a good thing considering how much he's been struggling. And you win going away. This Yankee team is really good, man. Really good. Now, there's not a lot of good teams in baseball, but Kansas City was one of them. And had no trouble beating them shorthanded against a pitcher that is probably the stiffest competition for heel for the American League Cy Young. So good on the Yankees. We'll see. I'm sure Judge will be back in the lineup tonight. And have at it, man. But this team, Soto gave you a bit of a scare. They did lose 2 out of 3 to the Dodgers without Soto in the lineup, but they get right back to winning. They're a fabulous baseball team, and the most impressive thing is that every day they're sending out an arm that can get the job done. And you know how good they are offensively.
And I love them getting it done without Judge.
I know.
Just having to deal with no Soto. That's Diamond Notes, brought to you by London Jewelers. Visit London Jewelers today at any of their 7 locations, including the Americana Mall and the mall at Short Hills. Let's get back to the phones a bit.
Oh, and Greek reminds me, again, this is not that big of a surprise, considering the Central has some issues, although Cleveland's good, and so is Kansas City. Yankees are 15-1 against the Central Division.
15-1, man. This Yankee team is balling, my friend.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I have been saying, as a Celtics fan, and we will get to all these calls about a variety of things, but I do think it's worth note since we're back to the NBA Finals tomorrow. I've been saying as a Celtics fan, when people start saying, I don't know, starting to feel like this series, starting to feel like it's over, I've been telling everyone, let's hold our horses for a second here. Game 1 was a blowout, but game 2 was not. It was a 5-point game with a minute and a half left. It was not a blowout game.
Well, it took a run to get it down to 5, but it did get down to 5.
It happened. Tatum's been good, but certainly far from great. Kyrie has not started playing yet. Doncic has been good, but human. And Kristaps has been absolutely out of his mind. So has Drew Holiday. I had 2 concerns. One, does Drew Holiday continue to do this game after game? He was 11 for 14 from the floor in game 2. I don't see that happening every night. And number 2, and maybe should have been number 1 to me, Kristaps Porzingis being healthy an entire series, Don, any year, let alone this year when he's coming off of an injury, is a concern. And now we learned today that Kristaps Porzingis, his game 3 status is uncertain. So you would agree, I imagine, Don, that if Kristaps Porzingis is unavailable on Wednesday night, that is a series-changing moment.
Well, not only a series-changing moment, you're changing venues to Dallas. So that combined with Porzingis being out, you would think would even the playing field to at least give the Mavericks a decent chance of evening the series. And then you see what happens going back to Boston. Because even though I think the Celtics played great, and I wouldn't say handily won, but, took care of business, I don't see any reason to believe that they can't, with Porzingis out, steal a game in Boston. So if they are able to even things up in Dallas, and then you're talking about a best-of-3 series in which you'd have to steal one of the games in Boston, I think it changes everything.
Can I and let me complain about one thing?
Mm-hmm.
I love Porzingis. As a Celtics fan, it turned out to be a pretty brilliant move. Seemingly, he fits in great.
Yeah.
Is this not the most Porzingis-y thing, though, of all time? Like, for Knicks fans who remember this guy very well, is this not the most Porzingis-y situation? He missed 10 games, of course, earlier in the playoffs. We know that. He just came back for the finals. And the Celtics said earlier that there are 2 injuries that he's dealing with. 2 different injuries in each leg. The first one is being referred to by the team as a, quote, rare injury in his left leg. I love the guy, but, it's just... Some guys are just that guy. He is very often that guy. Mm-hmm. He's been that his whole career. Mm-hmm. He's a unicorn. I get that. Are unicorns? Do we know unicorns are just injury-prone animals? Apparently,
we don't know a lot about the unicorn because it doesn't really help forward the story of the unicorn that it's laid up for 6 weeks.
Right. If you knew that in every sort of fantasy story when a unicorn's involved, they're great when they're available, but they're generally just completely unavailable.
Right.
So that will be very interesting to monitor if we don't get a healthy or available Kristaps Porzingis tomorrow night.
Yeah, I think both the NBA and the Stanley Cup Final are in the same boat where it just appears like the Celtics and the Panthers are on their way to a championship. But they both held serve. So let's see what happens when the scene shifts to Dallas and Edmonton to see if things change. Now, it puts all kinds of onus on winning Game 3. You're not coming back from 3-0 down. And then Barkov's hurt with Florida, so we'll see if that kind of affects things a little bit. So right now, it appears that we might not have the drama we were hoping for in these finals because of the way it started, but can we at least see how things go with the venue change? And maybe things will look a little bit different. Because with the Panthers and the Oilers, the games have been very competitive. I know it's 7-1 in favor of Florida as far as goals are concerned, but the games were still kind of up for grabs in the third period. And as you said, the score is one thing, but watching the games, Dallas has been able to hang in. They've gone on runs to kind of cut the deficit.
Even in Game 1, which was a nightmare, they did make it a little bit interesting.
Yeah, they did, and much more interesting in Game 2. So I would think with the venue change that maybe we'll still have a chance to have some series here in both these sports.
Here's Celtics coach Joe Mazzulla on Porzingis.
What I'm being told is it's obviously something serious, but it's something that has the potential to play. He's going to do everything he can between now and game time to play, but we're going to make sure we put him in the best possible situation. Our medical team will protect him, and because this time of year it can be very tempting to put yourself in a compromising situation, and so he's going to try like hell to play, but we got his back.
Also, Don, this is important. Listen up, baseball fans. ESPN New York is giving you the chance to travel with the home team when the boys from the BX head to B-More. You and a guest can enjoy the weekend with round-trip train tickets and hotel accommodations. For official rules and to enter, visit the ESPN New York app and click on Travel with the Home Team. It's brought to you by Corona, the official cerveza of Major League Baseball.
And since we're on this topic of the finals, Ranger fans were very, 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 very hard on Zibanejad and Panarin, and to a certain extent Kreider. Not big-time players, couldn't come up big in the big spot in the conference final.
Well, yeah.
I'll tell you, weren't the Rangers a lot more competitive and got more opportunities offensively than the Edmonton Oilers have in their first 2 games against Florida?
So we're
talking about Draisaitl and McDavid, who have got nothing in the first 2 games of the series?
I thought in Game 1 that they did get shots on goal.
No, they got shots on goal. Not last night. They had 7 shots on goal the first 2 periods. It was the least amount of shots any team has ever had in a finals game ever.
Wow.
What they ended up finish with, Anthony, like 13-4. Well, I think it was 18 because they had the power play and the 2-man advantage.
But
late.
7 through 2?
Yeah.
Oh, well, no,
they had 32 shots in Game 1. But
listen, it doesn't do anything for you, Anthony. I know it doesn't make you feel any better and win you any points after the fact. But as a Ranger fan, it does feel good to see Florida dominating like that when they get to the Cup.
Oh, no, I disagree. It does make you. It makes me feel better.
It does.
Well, I thought Don was right that Panthers are the better team, right? And I was curious to see how they would look against McDavid and Draisaitl, who I believe are the 2 better players if you put the Oilers and the Rangers rosters together. The Oilers have the 2 best players.
Yes.
And they still are having a hard time.
Right.
Now, if Barkov is hurt, who got an elbow up high to Draisaitl by Draisaitl in the second game, that could change things because he is one of the main reasons that they've been able to do nothing. But you got to feel better as a Ranger fan. No,
that's
this
nice.
team's really good.
And it was kind of eerily similar. Again, Anthony's right. We haven't even gone to Edmonton yet. For all we know, Edmonton wins the next 4 games. And even though that sounds ridiculous, it sounded ridiculous when Dallas was up 2-1 that Edmonton was going to run the table and win the series in 6. So we'll end up seeing what happens. But if this goes the way it looks, and the Panthers win in 5 games, and Draisaitl does nothing, and McDavid does nothing, as a Ranger fan, wouldn't you look back at the team and go, well, geez, we scored 5 goals against Barkov. We actually won a couple of games. We got more shots on goal, had more opportunities. And maybe it's not us. Maybe it's the fact that the Panthers are just really good. Now, the Panthers have some free agents, but I don't think they're going anywhere anytime soon. But I think it just looks at it a different perspective that 2 of the greatest offensive players in the sport have been shut down the first 2 games of the series. So we'll see what happens. But I think this has just been accentuating the fact that the Florida Panthers are just an awesome hockey team and are 2 wins away from winning the Stanley Cup. And their game
How many
will
they
be
have
in Edmonton.
now?
How many
Stanley Cups do the Panthers have?
None.
They have none? How many times have they been there?
This is their 3rd time. And you know what last night was? This is their 3rd trip to the Stanley Cup final. Last night was their 3rd win.
In the Stanley Cup.
In a Stanley Cup. They won 1 game last year against Vegas. They got swept against Colorado in 96, and they've got the 2 wins here.
By the way, it's funny. And obviously, I can spend a lot of time talking about the Panthers' history. But we talk about pressure on teams. You get to a 3rd Cup, Don, and you don't win. That's brutal. You don't get these opportunities. Don't come along forever.
96 was a long time ago, but you're right.
It's 2 back. It's 2.
You go back to back and don't win.
Go back to back losing both. You start smelling Buffalo Bills.
Well, especially now, if the way that they played these first 2 games, if they were to lose this series and lose 4 of the next 5 games, it would not look good. I don't see that happening. I think
Florida Panthers have been around since the mid 90s.
This is their 30th anniversary. Wow. That's really kind of cool. If they win the Cup, it'll be their first.
Who else was in there? Class? Nashville?
No.
That's way later?
I'm trying to think because was it
San Jose was earlier. A few years
San
before.
Jose was the first.
Were the Ducks?
San Jose was the first.
No, the Ducks were with San Jose, no?
No, San Jose came in by themselves in 90-91. We went from a 21-team league to 22. And then it was it Senators, Tampa, Florida,
and the Ducks,
and Panthers,
and the
Ducks
and Panthers, right? So so they went 2-2, but the San Jose was a standalone expansion. So and Edmonton's trying to win it for the first time since 1990, which is it's kind of cool that you're going to have some freshness here in the Stanley Cup Final.
Speaking of freshness, Don, let's take some very fresh phone calls. Who's been waiting? Well, hey, since we're talking NHL, let's go to Sam in Brooklyn. What's up, Sam?
Hi, Sam.
What's up, guys? Hey, before I get to my point, can I? Don't kill me, please. Can I do an In the Wild?
Let's see. It's got to be good now.
We don't do this.
Then we will kill you if it's not good.
John Goodman at a Subway on Park Avenue South.
I like that.
I'm not mad.
How about that?
I like it.
Right?
I like the way you did it, too.
It. I was like, that's not him. And then I heard the voice, booming voice. It was him. Subway. 2:00 in the afternoon.
Listen, I don't want to set the tone for it was good. It wasn't good enough to start bringing back In the Wild.
No, but what I say, and then Sam, the next thing out of your mouth should be your point. Okay.
Yeah, boom, next.
But what I loved about You're in the Wild, you told me where, you told me who, you didn't tell me who you were with and what you were doing before then.
Yeah, what the mood was.
What you were wearing that day and the mood you were in. I love the way you did it. Good job.
Thank you. In terms of the Florida defense and how they're suffocating all these great teams, can you give me a team that's in the last, 20, 30 years that is comparable in terms of how stifling their defense is?
Well, you'd have to go back to those Devil teams, but the caveat there is that the older rules before the lockout allowed the clutching and the grabbing, and they play the neutral zone trap where interference was a little bit more allowed, where you try to dump the puck, you'd hold the player up at the blue line. So the Devils were that suffocating. There was a game, I remember, I think it was the 2000 playoff run against Toronto, where the Leafs lost a game, Peter. They had 8 shots on goal for the entire game. But what Florida's doing, it's very difficult with the new rules, with the elimination of the red line, the calling more penalties for the clutching and grabbing. What they're able to do is suffocate you with just sheer speed and physicality. So I don't really think there's been much of an equivalent in the new rules the way the Panthers have been able to do it.
So I was going to ask, were the Devils, all the Devils players, including the forwards, were they as focused and as lines 1 through 4 all play the same way with Florida? Were the Devils the same way?
Oh yeah, they were the same way. They took advantage of rules, and Sam, thank you for the phone call and In the Wild. So it's a little bit different, but yeah, completely committed to defense. But here's the thing. They can score because they've got some really good offensive players. Now, the Devils did too. Jason Arnott, Patrick Elias a little bit later on. Scott Niedermayer was really good offensive defenseman. But this Panther team doing it with these new rules is pretty special. And Kachuk and Reinhart and Verhaeghe, they're a terrific offensive team.
Let's go to Tony in New Hartford. Hey, Tony.
Yeah, hi, guys. Listen, I'm 82 years old, so I'm up there in age, but I hate to be critical.
No.
But I think, I want to criticize you guys for one thing. I love the show. You guys are great, but I feel you should give more priority to the people waiting on the phone. You talk far too much between yourselves, and the conversations are very long and extended, and it keeps the people waiting to get on the air along. I've waited as much as 35, 45 minutes to get on. I get tired of waiting. So I wish you guys could cut down your conversations between each other in the studio.
Well, I hear you, Tony. I hear you, but the thing is, it is our show.
It is, right. I don't want to be overly critical.
No. And I hear what you're saying also. I can see how that would be frustrating, but the callers are things we pepper in, accoutrement to the show. But the bread and butter of the show is kind of supposed to be the host. But you know what, Tony? I appreciate your respectful manner, and we will do our best with our customer service to improve that for you.
And you're 82. My mom's 82. Are you single?
No.
No, I'm married with 2 sons that both passed away already. My youngest committed suicide in 2005. He jumped in front of a train in the Bronx. It was awful. And my oldest died last Halloween. He was 53.
I'm so sorry to hear that, Tony, and thank you for asking, Don.
Yeah, I'm no longer a father, and I miss being a father. I was a good dad.
No, I bet you were, Tony. What do you want to, on a more upbeat note, Tony, let's have some fun. What do you want to say about the Dallas Mavericks?
I'm a big Mavericks fan. Well, not so much a Mavericks fan as a Mark Cuban fan. I got to really like Mark Cuban watching Shark Tank. He's the owner of the Mavericks.
Well, kind of. Yeah, he's still running them. He doesn't own them anymore, but he still runs them. Yes.
Yes.
Oh, I thought he owned them. But anyway,
he no longer does, but he's still in control.
My question to you guys: you feel there's any chance? I would love to see Dallas come back and win 4 out of the next 5 games, but do you feel there's any chance of that happening?
Any chance? Yeah. No, I think there's a chance.
There's always a chance, yes.
No, but Tony, like we just said, if Porzingis is hurt, I give them a good chance. If Porzingis is not hurt, I still think they're going to win a couple games in this series. And Tony, we hope you enjoy the rest of the finals. Thank you for the call. And, listen, I don't want anyone to suggest that I'm hoping that it goes 7 because I would go to Game 7. We know Anthony thinks I'm a fraud, and I'm hoping there's a Game 7. I'm not. And I don't think there will be a 7th game. But I guess I have to say, if I were a betting man, I'd be picking Dallas tomorrow. Because obviously, Don, if Dallas doesn't win Game 3, then essentially you believe the series is over, right? So you got to pick them tomorrow night. If it's going to be a series, they're winning tomorrow night. What's the line tomorrow, according to ESPN Bet?
I'm going to guess that
I have it.
With Porzingis now hurt, I will say Mavericks -1.
Mavericks -2.5.
Okay.
Probably went up a point.
It might have started
earlier.
at 1.
It went up. It was 1.5 earlier.
All right. Well, that's why they still have a chance. I know we always go. This is probably as quoted as Bill Parcells. You are what your record says you are. Like a series doesn't start until a team loses a home game. But there's some validity to that. Can we see how Dallas plays at home, and if they play well and they even the series, then we got a real shot of something here. So to answer his question, yes, they have a chance.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go to Judy in Buffalo. Hey, Judy.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
Obviously, I'm a Bills fan, but the Jets roster scares me. They're very good. And, for the Bills to make the playoffs this year, they've got to beat the Jets at least once, if not twice. Mm-hmm. And the fact that they have, as I've said before, this 40-year-old Flake as a quarterback gives me great hope. So, I'm just waiting to see what happens. Tell me who is the backup quarterback for the Jets, because that's who I think they may have to rely on.
Well, it's not Zach Wilson anymore, thank God, but it's Tyrod Taylor, who is a serviceable backup quarterback that can win you games.
Maybe more than serviceable.
But if he becomes the starting quarterback, Peter, if God forbid we have a repeat of last year and Rodgers gets hurt in the first game, their season's over.
No, it'll be better than last year. But it won't be.
But you'll have some hope. But Tyrod Taylor is a more than serviceable backup quarterback and could start for some teams, but you don't want him starting for the Jets. Again, it's flaky. Let's not go crazy, all right? Him not showing up to minicamp should not have any kind of ill effect on this upcoming season. It's just a pain in the neck coming from the guy who told you no more distractions. It's all about football. But, oh, by the way, I've got an event and I'm going to miss mandatory minicamp. That doesn't float my boat at all. It shouldn't float yours either. But does it mean that he's going to get hurt? Does it mean that they can't win with him? That's a bit of a stretch. I did not. I had a question. I'm done with asking questions.
You're done. Don't do me a favor.
I'm sorry.
Wait, what did you ask that led to that?
He said he was 82.
Right.
And my mom turned 82 in May, and I thought we'd have some fun. That if he was single, maybe I'd introduce them. But no, I didn't know it was gonna turn the way it did. I thought it was an innocent question.
I thought so too.
I've learned my lesson.
It went dark.
It went completely black. I feel terrible.
No, you should.
But I did not.
It wasn't your fault. It wasn't your fault.
I thought we'd have some fun. Maybe my mom.
No, a little goof.
My mom's. She's 82. She's alone.
Oh boy.
And listen, and he was complaining the way my mom does. I thought they did.
I know.
You were on hold too long. Let me just tell you, Peter explained it perfectly. Our callers accentuate, like as you said, did a little. What would you say?
I said accoutrement.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it is. A little
spice things up a little bit.
Yeah.
Bam.
So you have to know that you might be in for a little bit of a wait, but If Peter and I have something to say, or Michael, or whoever's on the air, then we're going to say it, brother.
All right, I guess let's take a break. We got. I don't want to offend Artie. He's been on hold for a long time. We'll get to Artie. We'll get to Gordon. We'll get to Vlad. Richard, of course, is on hold. God knows what he's going to say.
Well, I say,
so much to do. Right here on Yes and ESPN New York.
Chris Sheeran back here for the Michael K. Show. The Yankees using small ball to take the first game of their road trip in Kansas City is brought to you by Montefiore Einstein, the official hospital of the New York Yankees. Juan Soto made his return as well. He singled and scored in the first, and then DJ LeMahieu brought in the second run with this safety squeeze to give the Yankees a 2-0 lead. Top four with 2 on and 1 out. Jahmai Jones lays down a sac bunt to move LeMahieu and Trent Grisham over. It was the first time in a game since 2012 that the Yankees had 3 sacrifice bunts, and this one pays off as Jose Trevino rips a 2-out, 2-ribby single, and the Yankees take a 4-0 lead on Seth Lugo, who entered the AL leader in wins. He would exit tied with Carlos Rodon, by the way, who won for the 7th straight game, going 6+ innings and allowing 3 runs or less in every single start. With the win, the Yankees improved to 15-1 against the AL Central and improved on their Major League best road record. That is now 25-11. They are 22-10 in the Boogie Down Bronx. Game 2 of this 4-game set comes your way tonight on Yes, with our coverage commencing at 7 with Nancy Newman and the batting practice show, followed by the pregame, and first pitch is scheduled for a little after 8. It's the Yankees and the Royals. Coverage starting at 7 with BPTV right here on Yes, and streaming, of course, on the Yes app.
Show 98.7 ESPN New York, and of course available on the Yes Network. Peter and Don. Let's go back to the Yankees for a moment because Artie's been on hold in Fair Lawn. Hey, Artie.
What's up, Artie?
Hey, guys. How are you guys? You guys are amazing. You know what?
Aw.
I got 20 million things I would ask you guys, but I want to ask you why I called. Don, you're the voice of reason. And every once in a while, this problem comes up for me. And it happened Saturday night when A-Rod, Jeter, and Big Papi were in the Yankee, whatever, out in the outfield there. And A-Rod told Big Papi, you got a better chance of getting your plaque out here than me. Now, I understand everybody got suspended. Big Papi was a first-time Hall of Famer. What about Bonds? He never got suspended, did he? I mean, really? Don? Let me know what you think about that. Thank you.
I really believe, Artie, that when it comes to the PEDs, it's a popularity contest. Everybody loves David Ortiz. So he was on the Mitchell report, and he never tested positive, so he probably didn't do anything. So let's waltz him into the Hall of Fame. Andy Pettitte, nice family guy. Everybody loved him. Great Yankee. He took HGH. Oh, but he did it because he wanted to help his team. He wanted to repair his injured arm, to give the Yankees more innings, to help him win. So let's let Andy up from any criticism. Barry Bonds, bad guy. Keep him out of the Hall of Fame. Roger Clemens, bad guy. Keep him out of the Hall of Fame. You see what's going on here? It's selective outrage. When we don't like somebody, when they're not somebody that's very nice and kind to the media and plays the game, then we rip them and we bring them down and dismantle them. When it's somebody that we like and we think he's special, then we look the other way. Alex Rodriguez, to me, can transition into the Ortiz and the Pettitte part of the conversation, Peter. I think he's changed his image. He's not as prickly as he was when he was a player. He's done all the right things since he's retired from the game. He's working for Fox. He worked for ESPN. He's helped the Yankees out. He's been welcomed back to the Yankees despite the fact that he sued the Yankees. So I disagree with Alex. I think there could be an avenue someday where his number will be retired and he will be honored in Monument Park. Maybe it's a little bit too soon. The wounds are a little too fresh. But at some point, if he continues working on his image and changes things, I think he can fall into the category of Ortiz and Pettit. So I think it's still very, very fluid.
I sort of think so too. I didn't agree with what he said. I did not think it's as dire as he made it sound.
Hey, there was a time where it was like he'll never set foot in Yankee Stadium again.
Yeah, things have changed,
and now it's slowly changed, and he'll rise.
Let's go to Vlad in Glen Cove. Hey, Vlad.
Hey, Vlad.
Hi, guys. Good afternoon, Peter and Don.
What's up?
How you guys doing? First time, long time. I just really wanted to call in to bring you guys a little bit up to speed about the game of cricket.
Please.
The game of cricket is similar to baseball. Baseball has a strike zone. Cricket has 2 wickets. So the aim of the bowler in bowling is to strike the wicket.
Right.
Aside from striking the wicket, a batsman can get out, can either get caught out, which is similar to baseball, or they can get out what is called LBW, leg before wicket. So that rule is if the bowler bowls and you miss the batsman misses the ball, and the ball strikes his leg, and the leg is in front of the wicket, the bowler and the fielding team can appeal to the umpire for what is called a leg before wicket. Similar to baseball, where you guys have a home run. In cricket, when you hit that ball over what is called the boundary in the air, that's 6 runs.
Right.
If you strike the ball and it rolls straight into the boundary, that's 4 runs. Okay. In baseball, baseball we have 3 strikes, you're out. In cricket, it's 1 chance you have to get out, and you're out.
All right. Well, listen, I want to learn more. Listen, it's a lot to have to take in all at once, but I'm starting to get it a little bit. When you look at it and you try to figure it out on your own, it's impossible.
It really is. No, it really makes you feel stupid. You can't do it. You're like, no, well, I think you get it, then you don't get it.
But like baseball, you watch it enough, you'll be all right. I can kind of pick up what's happening here. I can kind of figure it out.
Can we even tell though, Don? Baseball's so built
it's so
into
ingrained in our DNA.
Yeah, we don't even you could not know sports at all and still look at a baseball game and understand what's going on. And I think it's the same. I'm sure it's the same with cricket if we were in Bangladesh.
But I will tell you, for as popular as it is, football is probably the most difficult sport to understand.
You explain football, you're like, on second thought, this sounds insane. Everything I'm telling you sounds absurd.
Because there's always but this, but that. But
right.
If this happens, well, this happens. If this happens, but again, football like baseball,
and so
it's
many
so
different
ingrained in us,
and so many different numbers: 4 downs, 10 yards. 3 points, 6 points, but 7 points, but 8 points. There's a lot. There's a lot going on.
There's a lot. There's a lot happening. It's all good.
All right. Well, it's wonderful. A follow up. We've never had a cricket call. We might as well have them back to back.
Oh,
Gordon,
you sure?
Gordon in Huntington. What did you want to ask?
Yeah, guys. Yeah, man. Guys, you guys crack me up all the time, man. You know.
Oh, thanks, man.
Car, coming home from work. Michael is not in today. I know Michael is not in today. But you guys seem like sometimes you argue, and with the arguments you guys come up with, man, sometimes you make me laugh. I'm telling you.
Cool.
Yeah, Yeah. Michael is a bigger brother, though.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. You guys crack the head out of me sometimes. Anyway, this is a cricket question too. The World Cup is in Eisenhower Park, right?
Yep.
And I know I heard you guys kind of baffling about the rules and stuff like that. But you can go on your computer and you can Google, you can all check it out. You know. But what I'm saying, you guys, I know it's not popular in the United States. Do you think it can get popular here, cricket?
Are you Jamaican, Gordon?
Yes, man. I am.
So I saw Jamaica's listed at in the upper echelon of countries that enjoy the sport. How big is cricket in Jamaica? Let me ask you that. Is it the second most popular sport?
It's right there. Soccer and cricket is the most popular.
Like they're tied, almost tied.
Yes.
Wow.
Well, I mean,
it's a good question, Gordon.
It's very huge, man. It's very huge.
Right,
in the Caribbean.
I don't mean this insultingly. There's no chance it could become popular here. And here's why I say that.
Okay.
Look at how long it has taken for soccer to get inroads. I remember in the 70s, as a kid, when the Cosmos were here, people telling me, soccer's growing, man. It's coming. And then you fast forward 50 years later, and it's grown. It's found its niche, but it's not near the four major sports. MLS is growing, but it's still not where the other four sports are, because it's not really ingrained in us yet, and it's going to take a long, long time. So what hope does cricket have when it's taken soccer as long as it's taken? Plus, and then soccer had the advantage of every high school's got a soccer team. Every town has soccer to play. If Marco wanted to play cricket, where do I take him? There might be some place to take him. I don't know if it's going to be in my town. I'm not sure it's going to be in my county. It might not even be in my state. There's 7 different places he can go in my town alone to play soccer. So how can cricket grow? It can't. It's impossible.
Will cricket grow and get popular in a real way in America among Americans? Like, meaning not people who are of descent of another country? I don't think so. However, could there be sort of a growth period and a level of popularity, increased popularity for people who already enjoy the sport somewhat or come from I could see there being a better organization, or like the deal we announced earlier with maybe more TV opportunity. I could see it growing, but could Americans who don't have any connection to it from their own personal experience or home country, is it going to grow with a new audience? To Don's point, I think it's going to be very tough.
There's too much competition.
And then on top of that, it's we don't understand it, right? I don't know if you know this. Americans are not very good at learning things we don't already have. Not a lot of people inquire and are going to seek out learning. Like, most people aren't like Don, who when he saw people talking about it was like, hey, can you explain it to me? I'd like to learn. I even had a period where I've tried as well. So I think most people aren't like that. So I could see it gaining visibility. And if the organization and television opportunities increase, you could see more visibility. I don't know if I see it getting more popular.
Where it has to make inroads is there has to be the ability for young kids to start to play it, want to get into it, and that's how it grows.
What if there was betting with it that for some reason was more appealing because of the style of the game? Maybe if there was some interesting betting angle that we don't know about because we don't know the game well enough. You know, if there's something that made that really appealing from a betting angle, perhaps. Let's go to. I'll tell you one thing, though. It is funny how many calls we have about cricket.
Because especially this area, because we have so many people from so many different countries and backgrounds. So that's why I don't mean to disrespect it, because I'm sure there are people that are like, I love it. I go to this place and I play it and I watch it here. I remember working at Sports Phone. There was a guy that was of Jamaican descent that had a ham radio he'd drag in on Sunday mornings to listen to cricket in other countries. So I'm not here to disrespect the sport. What I'm saying is, in order for it to make inroads, my son has to want to play it. Like in hockey, like one of the great things about expansion in hockey, Peter, is that when the Florida Panthers go to Florida, different little pop-up rinks around the arena, kids start to play hockey, they get into it, and it starts to grow. So if my son said, Dad, I want to play cricket, I wouldn't know where to go. Now, maybe there is some place to grow, for him to go and to grow with the game, but it's just so hard. Soccer, rugby, there's so many, curling. Curling's like huge in Canada. And there's places here that it's like a big deal. But I don't even know where to begin to start to understand that.
Not only that, curling also, when the Olympics come around, you hear people go, I really like curling.
Yeah.
And then it's still nothing happens.
Yeah, because there's so much going on. It's so hard. It's hard for even, like, look at baseball starting to take a couple of steps back. Like, you sit idle for a while, have a couple of bad years, and all of a sudden there's other sports that kind of blow by you. But it's really hard to grow anything in the United States because the other sports are so ingrained.
Tony in Pittsburgh. Hey, Tony.
Yeah, what's going on, guys?
What's up, Tony?
Tone.
Yeah, I had an issue. My name is actually Joey, not Tony, but it's all good.
We're 0 for 1. We're off to a bad start.
All right, sorry,
what do you got, Joey?
Yeah, no, y'all are all good. So I just had an issue with that caller from earlier who was complaining about being on the phone for 30, 40 minutes, like on hold and everything.
Mm-hmm, sure.
I've waited on hold for you guys for 2 hours before. You know, I'll wait all day for you guys. So I just wanted to say that you guys are great, and I think that other caller was, you know, out of his gourd.
Well, listen,
we did learn that was possible as things went on.
But we appreciate it, Joey. Thank you.
And Joey waited a long time just to say that.
Well, I appreciate that. I mean, listen, there's no guarantee how long you're going to be on hold. I know you guys are busy, and we try to get to you, but you know, if we got stuff to say, or we got a guest, or
what are you going to do?
What are you going to do, man? I want to do it for him.
You know,
we don't know a lot about the unicorn.
All things you have to remember.
These are all things that might have been lost if we had a call. I'll tell you, I'm not doing anything else. If there's anything else that has to be done, Anthony, I'm sorry. I'm out.
You know what? I want to talk to you about. I want to talk to you about something important. You want a deal? Who wants the deal? You want a deal? Thank you for the pistachios, Don.
Yeah, I went shopping, and the wonderful pistachios, not just they're wonderful, but that's the name of the company. The sweet chili. Awesome. Now, Anthony, very sacrilegious almost. Are they with the shells? I'm not eating pistachios without shells. You got to put in the work. And it's because if you give me pistachios without shells,
you could eat 1,000.
I won't stop. I'll be like a goldfish. Just keep eating till I die. At least having the shells
slows you down,
puts some resistance, and kind of paces you a little bit, because these things are absolutely wonderful. And I think they're not totally unhealthy, are they?
No nut is totally unhealthy. They're just like, you know, fattening, varying degrees of fattening.
Right, but it's better than banging a Dorito bag.
Oh, well, again, not the way I would describe it, but yeah, I agree with what you're saying.
Have you seen me? I had a very intimate relationship with my Dorito bag. If Yes wants to show me in the trailer from a few years ago, when I was lost and fat.
So before I got here, you were just...
I'd have a pillowcase. It was basically the Dorito bag. It actually said on the bag, pillowcase size.
Do you look back now and just go, what was I doing?
No, because again, this is no one took me aside.
No one coached you up.
Nobody. Look at that. Look, you can even see the belly. Like, nobody said, Don, what's the matter with you? My watch is screaming. It's going to burst. My wrists. Look at that arm. It's undefined. Just down. Look at the size of that Dorito bag. You could put cotton in there, and it's a pillow. And nobody ever took me aside and said, Don, you're a fat piece of garbage. You're an embarrassment.
No one was coaching you up.
And it just shows you the stages of our lives. Michael was going through his throat thing. Did you see what he was doing when I was eating my Doritos?
No.
He's drinking his Poland Springs water out of a straw. Like, we were just a mess at one point. Let's look at it. We go back.
There's you holding like a baby.
Yeah. And not one person.
So real quick, how long would the pillowcase-sized Doritos last you, though?
Oh, no, it would take a few days to finish. And then, believe me, everybody, when you throw out a pillowcase full of Doritos,
people are weighing it.
People, all of a sudden, people you haven't seen in weeks in the studio come flocking in. Doritos, a tremendous product.
No,
there's Michael. He's sipping.
Oh my God, that! By the way, that has to be a meme. Someone has to make this just a meme. That shot of Don eating a human-sized bag of Doritos with Michael awkwardly wearing his glasses, and can I see that one more time? And sipping the water from the straw. Oh my God!
Like anytime there's sad radio, that should be the meme.
That is Look at the shot. There it is. Look at Michael with the straw.
We're just stuck in the Yes trailer.
And by the way, this is a commercial break. They're not talking to each other. They're just sitting there sucking and eating.
Just sitting in the trailer. It's probably 1,000 degrees outside. Some random Yankee game in July.
I swear you could fit a human head in that bag of Doritos.
You can hide a body, honestly.
Wonder how many total grams of fat were in that puppy.
And not one person. Not one. Took me aside. Until, you know who took me aside? Me. I'm thinking of inviting Kimball to the beach bash.
Really? That'll be fun.
We can maybe do something like a demonstration or something. He's a good guy.
Could you break a wooden board for us?
Well, we don't do that in kickboxing. We just get through our workout. But I'd like. You think it's okay? Would you be all right with that?
Why would I not be all right with it?
I don't know. You have opinions.
I'd love to meet Kimball. He's the Sifu, for God's sake.
Yeah. So I'm gonna ask him tomorrow.
All right, let's take a couple calls here to close out this 4 o'clock hour. 5 o'clock hour, we'll get back to some of the New York Jets issues with Hassan Reddick and Aaron Rodgers. But let's you know what? Should we close out the hour with some dick?
Sure.
Hey, Richard.
Hi, Peter. Hi, Don. Fellas, ESPN, ABC's worst nightmare. If the Celtics win next game, and if Florida wins next game, it'll be 3-0. Nobody will watch Game 4, so that's bad. We also have a 10% possibility of 2 sweeps. NHL, NBA at the same time, same year. Never happened. And fellas, a quick story.
Never happened?
Never. Not
really?
at the same time. I don't think so, but you can check. Don, one quick story. Michael was talking to Rodriguez, A-Rod, on Friday. A-Rod referenced, talking about the Timberwolves ownership, referenced Vinny Viola owns the Florida Panthers.
Right.
I sat next to Vinny Viola 4 years at Brooklyn Tech High School. We were in the same classes together, class of 73, Brooklyn Tech.
How did he make his money?
I don't know. He was a quiet kid, very precise in what he did. He wasn't in the top 5% of the class, but he was a smart kid, and you can see anything he did, he was very, very precise at.
So you're rooting for the Panthers now?
Yeah,
Oh, cool.
Why not? He's a good guy, and sure, of course. But they're the best team anyway, Don.
Yeah, easily.
Always a pleasure, fellas.
Richard, are you under the weather?
Am I under? Yeah, I have a little cold. I guess I was talking too much yesterday and Sunday, so
all right,
my voice is a little down.
Give yourself a break, Richard, all right?
Oh, always. Thank you, Peter. Thank you, Don.
Oh, that was nice.
Yeah. I worry about Richard.
Now he's got me thinking. There's never been sweeps in both the NBA and the NHL in the same season. I'm just double checking. What did the Bulls do in '96? No, they won in 6 against Seattle. They were up 3-0, and then Seattle won a couple of games. There's got to be, right?
David?
Hi, David.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Good, and yourself?
How you doing?
Good. Long-time listener, first-time caller. I just wanted to ask you guys a question. The Yankees and the Phillies are both playing spectacular baseball. I live in Central Jersey, work in South Jersey, so I hear a lot of both sides. Pending both teams being healthy, when do you guys think it's time to start talking about chances for them to break the single-season wins record?
Well, I think it's on the table, man, just considering the fact of how many bad teams there are. We've brought it up before. What is it, only 10 teams with a winning record in all of Major League Baseball? There's some really bad baseball teams, so... what is the record? 116 by the Mariners in 2001. Yeah,
currently
I think it's on the table.
Yankees are sitting at 47-21. Phils are 45-20. If that means anything for you.
45.
They have a win percentage of .692 right now. The Phillies. The Yankees are at .691.
1995, Peter. I just looked it up. Devils swept the Red Wings. Rockets swept the Magic.
Hey, look at you. Because you know what? You're a professional.
Because I just know the sweeps off the top of my head in the NHL. And we'll see if it's happened any other time.
Of course
there's
do.
one time. But sorry, but I felt bad for Richard. He was really, you could tell he was struggling a bit.
Yeah.
What happened Sunday?
Probably just
talked a lot on Sunday.
Well, who's on the air on both stations on Sunday? That's the question.
Do you think it was on this air or on the air? Or do you think he had a function?
Do you think Richard goes to functions?
Yes.
All right, we'll ponder that much more in a huge 5 o'clock hour right here on 98.7 ESPN New York and Peter and Don here. Michael is back on Friday.
That's right. Friday. Yankees-Red Sox.
Oh, I can't wait. That's all I'm thinking about for this week.
God, there was a time, Peter, where Yankees-Red Sox, that was just, that would be the show. but the Red Sox are okay, not great. Yankees one of the best teams in baseball, but I don't know. I'd love to hear from Yankee fans. Like, is that anything anymore? The way you feel about the Astros, the way you feel about the Rays in recent years, now the Orioles, who are clearly the second best team in the division. Like, does Yankees-Red Sox really do anything for you? Maybe if you're of a certain age, but I bet you there's a whole generation of fans who are like, it's not a thing anymore. It's just, it's a rivalry, but there's got to be something that has happened recently to get you fired up about it, and there really hasn't been anything. I mean, Anthony, you're of a certain age. Does the Red Sox do anything for you other than because it was once upon a time a thing?
It's still pretty exciting when you go to the games. Like, you still feel the vibe of Yankees-Red Sox as the rivalry. But, look, the Rays have given much more headaches to the Yankees over the last couple of years. The Astros have given more headaches to the Yankees.
Yeah, they're just more teams. It's just more teams that you probably hate and more teams that you're concerned about right now. But honestly...
It could come back when they start.
Well, of course, like anything else. But it's got to have something going on. And I think it's been a good decade since the last time they played in the wild card game. But it's been a while since there's been like anything. But, Mike will be back for that. And we'll see what kind of juice it has. But right now,
I'm not
Yankees don't have a rival in the American League in my mind.
I'm not sensing tons of juice. I'm not sensing.
Well, right now, the Yankees are the juice.
That's all the juice.
And when they play, it's become a thing. And I really feel, with the Gleyber-Torres stuff aside, this might be the first time in a long time, Peter, that I feel like even Yankee fans are enjoying this run. They understand it's got to be about a championship and all that, but you're going to have some fun here. The Knicks and Rangers took us a certain distance, and we appreciate that. They took us to June. But now the Yankees are what's going to drive us until camps open and until we kick off for real in September with the NFL. And I think Yankee fans are really excited about this team because Judge is Judge. Soto's been terrific. This pitching staff was an underdog and now has become absolute. You're seeing stars in the making with this pitching staff. There's very little to complain about. It's not going to be like 2 summers ago where they were the best team in baseball and all anybody complained about was Gallo and this and that. I think this is going to be a fun summer, Peter. And maybe the Mets can do a little something. I'm not holding out hope. I think it's just kind of relying on the Yankees and waiting for football.
Let's go to Phil in Patchogue. Hey, Phil.
Hey, Don. How you doing? I've called a lot. The reason I'm calling today is I want to talk about Rizzo. Rizzo... he's a pro. He's a great teammate. He's not doing it. We need that. We need that production from first base. What do you think? I want to get your opinion.
Well, let me ask you this, because you're a Yankee fan, right? I love the Yankees. I mean, they wouldn't make a trade, but in the offseason, Rizzo will be in his walk year next year. Would you kick the tires on Pete Alonso?
Well, that's how much we're going to pay him, man.
Right. I listen. I know he's going to want a lot of money, but who knows? He's a Boris client, but not everybody got paid that was a Boris client last season. So I'm just asking, as a Yankee fan, would you be interested in Pete Alonso? Plays first base, hits a lot of home runs.
No, I'd rather have Soto. Oh, I mean, we got to pay. I'd rather pay Soto than Alonso.
Oh no, that's a no-brainer, of course. I'm just kind of wondering, like, if Soto ends up leaving and Alonso's available, and you could afford him, is that somebody that you would want to play first base?
Well,
it's okay to say no. I'm not kidding. Listen, he's not my son. I'm not going to be insulted by it. But Rizzo is. I think.
I love Alonso. I think he's a terrific ball player.
Yeah, but Rizzo, it feels like it might be kind of winding down here for Anthony.
But he's like, Don, he's a pro. I look at these guys he reminds me of a professional. My dad, when I was younger, you dress good, you act like a pro, this and that. I don't like. I'm old. I'm 65, but I don't like all the headgear and the arm gear and this and that. You look like a pro. You look like a team. I don't know. That's how I feel, and I'm very liberal guy.
But that's not going to get him a contract at the end of next year. All right, he's of a certain. What is he? 34 years old now, not hitting, coming off the concussion from last year. But I just threw that out there, getting a chance to ask a Yankee fan. I don't think they're going to make a trade. I think the Mets will trade Alonso if they're out of it, and all indications are they will be. I don't see the Mets and the Yankees making that kind of a trade. But if he became available and the Yankees could find a way to pay him, then that would obviously come at them not being able to pay Soto, would they want Pete Alonso? First baseman, not a great defender, but not an embarrassment either. Hits a lot of home runs. Just throwing it out there because he might be available and you might need a first baseman.
Let's go to Andrew in Queens. Hey, Andrew.
Fellas, how we doing?
Good.
So, Yankee fan here, I'll say off the bat that, yes, I would take Pete Alonso in a heartbeat, quite frankly, over, again, bearing that Juan Soto isn't here next year. The only thing that I would throw in there would be whether or not, Aaron Judge were to move to first base eventually because of the outfield stopgap that the Yankees
that is true, yes.
But that's a different story. Before my Yankees-Red Sox comment, I just want to say quickly on cricket. I went to London a few years back and went to a cricket match at Lord's, and the thing, as someone who never watched cricket, that kind of I thoroughly enjoy, which I've never seen at any other sporting event ever. At Lord's in cricket, which is like their big cricket ground, you're allowed to bring in either a bottle of wine or 2 tall boys or a 6-pack of beer.
Man.
So if that was allowed here in the States, I'm not saying that would help, make things
it wouldn't hurt.
more popular. But I'm saying it'd be a start somewhere. I'm just saying. On the Yankees-Red Sox, look, I respect and know why media always try to hype it up, trying to live in the pre-2004 days. But in my mind, as a Yankee fan, the rivalry died in 2004. And it's been very one-sided since, considering, the Red Sox have won quite a few more championships than the Yankees have since then. It doesn't do anything for me anymore. It's not a premium game in my mind. The players aren't still there who you knew hated each other. There's no Pedro. There's no Clemens. And so I don't know if we'll ever see a rivalry like that again with the Red Sox, because, it's more so there with the Astros and the Yankees now.
Well, because there's a reason to hate them, because they cheated. But what's interesting, Andrew, and I don't mean to jump you, but it sounded like you loved the rivalry because it was one-sided in the Yankees' favor, and now you've kind of lost interest because it's one-sided the other way. You would think after blowing a 3-0 series lead in 2004 that would add to the rivalry, because finally the Red Sox punched back.
Right, you would think that, but I think and I'm 33, turning 34. I was at the Jeter dive game. That was on my 14th birthday. I was there. It was amazing. But I think that part of that charm of that rivalry was, the 1918 chant, was that you knew that the Red Sox would eventually fumble the bag and they would do something. And I get it. This is all coming from one side on Yankee standpoint thing here, but I don't get the same vibe that Red Sox fans feel the same way too, because it always felt like the Red Sox were trying to punch up. It's like eventually we'll get there. We will get to over the Yankees and we'll win. And it just feels like once they won, it's like, okay, it's over.
But I'm not mad at you, Andrew. But I think but this, what you just said, kind of confirms the theory that I've always had, that people do not define rivalries the right way. To me, like a rivalry is when both sides are kind of equal, they go back and forth, they hate each other for that reason. But if it's so one-sided, like I never understood, why is Yankees-Red Sox a rivalry? Up until 2004, the Red Sox folded every time they went up against the Yankees. How is that a rivalry? It's kind of like Bulls-Knicks. Why were the Bulls-Knicks a rivalry? When Jordan was there, it was just the Knicks always lost. Peter, isn't a rivalry, I'm not saying it's got to be 50-50, we got to have a little back and forth.
Well, yeah, a rivalry gets killed when it's no longer interesting because it's dominated.
But he just said he lost interest once the Red Sox punched back. That should add to the interest of a rivalry.
It could be point fraud. It's a horrible point. The second the Red Sox...
No, but I think there's a lot of people that feel the same way as him.
Well, no, but they're wrong. The reason the rivalry is not good is because now over the last decade, things have shifted and they don't seem to ever be good at the same time, or at least really competing for a championship at the same time. Why would it have gotten worse? You should now hate the Red Sox. After 2004, the Yankees fans should absolutely loathe the Red Sox. It's just that recently, it's hard to even remember it because the Astros have owned the Yankees so badly. That's kind of the problem.
And even that's not really a rivalry because the Astros own the Yankees, but at least I can get the feeling of they cheated and now you hate them. Like, I always wondered, I'd ask Yankee fans, like, what do you hate the Red Sox? In every big spot, they'd fold. Like, I almost think you would want to play the Red Sox because they were going to come up with Bucky Dent, Aaron Boone. They were always going to find a way.
So what you're saying is the rivalry didn't start meaning anything in a real way to you until 2004.
Well,
once they punched back.
Well, I just feel like now you got something. Now the little engine that finally could. So now isn't that now you got a rivalry? Now you got a little back and forth.
Right, before
I never felt any back and forth. They sold Babe Ruth to the Yankees, and then starting then. They were just your punching bag.
Right.
Now, I understand why a Yankee fan would enjoy that.
Yeah, but it's not a rival.
But how does that make it a rival if they didn't? They never punch back. Now, there were times that they won and the Yankees didn't, like winning the division in '86 and all that. But whenever they would go head-to-head, Peter, the Red Sox just handed to them until 2004.
Let's go to Perry in New Hyde Park. Hey, Perry.
What's up, guys?
Perry, what's up, man?
Sorry, man. Listen to all the conversations that you guys are having. But talking about cricket real quick, I know you're probably bored to death. I was born here, but even with cricket is confusing for me. But even this morning, we have a retired cricket player, that national team, he was on Good Morning America today. Even yesterday, at the match the other day, John Starks was there, and he was at the Celtics game. So they're trying to promote it very well. So just like in '94, where soccer wasn't really available, and now it is available. I mean, and watching wise, but yeah, he was at the Celtics game yesterday, and George Starks and stuff. So cricket is slowly coming up. Even for me, it's confusing. But
no, I think that's fair. Perry, I think it's fair to say that's a good point. I think it's fair to say Don may have his opinion, and it makes sense that it's never going to get very popular. But I think we could both agree, even though I wasn't looking for it, I have heard, consumed, and thought more about cricket in the last couple of weeks than I ever had previously.
But
that's something.
Is there a World Cup every 4 years like soccer?
Now you're asking me too much information.
All right, but all right, it's their World Cup, and it's being played in New York, partially. So you can't get more interest than that when you're playing at the highest level and some of the games are being played in New York.
No, but that's what I'm saying.
But then when it's
not
over,
happening,
then
right.
Then 4 years from now, when they're in New Zealand, I don't think they're going to be on Good Morning America.
No, but both things are true. It's a bigger moment now than I ever recall, and no, I don't think it's really going to last beyond that unless they're back here again. That's. I think they can both be true. I know you're very excited about this, Don. Get ready.
I'm ready.
I have a Yankee lineup.
Oh, finally. We're not going to have to wait until first pitch like yesterday?
It's brought to you by Bigelow Tea and Serta Pro Painters. You ready?
I'll ding when I'm surprised by something.
All right, here we go. You're going to be stoked, I think. Here we go. Anthony Volpe is leading off. Juan Soto batting second, followed by Mr. Aaron Judge batting third. Alex Verdugo. Happy birthday to his mom, by the way. He is batting cleanup.
How do you know that, by the way?
I saw it online.
Good.
Stanton batting fifth. Rizzo sixth. Torres seventh. Wells eighth. Cabrera is batting ninth.
Now, I have a question before you give the starting.
By the way, important little side note here. Soto's playing right tonight.
That's what I was going to ask.
Is that the ding you were looking for?
Yes, that's ding, ding, ding.
All right, so ding it up. Soto's in right tonight. That is your Yankee starting lineup, brought to you by Bigelow Tea. Bigelow Tea is a proud supporter of the K Show and the official hot tea of the Yankees, and by Serta Pro Painters. When choosing a painting professional for your home or business, the choice is simple. Choose happy. Choose Serta Pro Painters.
You give good lineup.
Thank you. You want to go back to the calls?
Yes.
Then we'll keep it Yankee adjacent. Here's Jimmy in Hapakong. Hey, Jimmy.
Hi, guys. I was at the Somerset Patriots game last Tuesday, and I saw a cool pitch.
I heard it was cool, man, with all the people there.
I had standing room only.
Nice.
So I had to move my seat like 5 times.
And what do you got?
Did something happen? Was it riveting? Did you notice something?
Siegler hit a home run. At 2018 first round pick.
It's cool. Do you go to games, or you just went because of Cole?
I've been to a couple games this year that Cole wasn't pitching.
Yeah, it's a nice stadium. It's a whole. I like it. You know,
I liked what they did last night. Did you see what they did last night?
I did not see that.
The all uniforms.
But the diner one? I know. They have
the Jersey diners.
Yeah,
that was fun. I like that.
Yeah, they got it going on there, and they've had a couple of rehab starts with Cole. He's making another one, I believe. Is that also going to be at Somerset, Anthony? I know he's making one more rehab start. It might as well be at Somerset the way the travel is. But
I'd like to have
it
you.
It is going to be at Somerset.
I'd like to have you back to throw out another pitch solo. I feel strongly about that.
I love my relationship with the Somerset Patriots, and I don't think it makes me a fraud at all.
No,
and I will do anything I can to promote them.
It doesn't.
I would love to have them.
How many other people threw out a pitch that night?
5.
No, you're better than 1 of 5. I'm sorry.
Well, no, but these were like Make-A-Wish kids, and for the Miriam's Heart.
No, it's beautiful. I love that they did it. But you're Don LaGreca, and you deserve your own night. That's all I'm saying. You're a local celeb who's also a legitimate supporter of the team. That's all I'm saying. It's not for you to say. Anthony, it's for me to say. But Donald Marco LaGreca should have his own night where we all have a moment, because it was a beautiful thing that they did, and I love that they did it. But at the same time, I don't want my guy Don being rushed off either. I want a moment. I want to see him soak it all in.
And I got to tell you, that they just showed the picture with Jalen hanging on my leg. That Somerset Patriot had purchased years ago. Like, that wasn't given to me for that night.
No, that's yours.
That's
you
mine.
wear it.
I own that, yeah.
Damn right you do. It's the real deal, my guy. Let's go to Mike in Jersey. Hey, Mike.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Don, I wish you loved the game like I did. But I do. But, hey, but just quick to your point, I was thinking about it this morning, actually. You know, you go back to guys, you know, like who would have been my dad's age, you know, the Kansas City Royals, huge rival to the Yankees at that time. And as baseball evolves, I mean, I think of the Angels and the Tigers, obviously the Red Sox, too, growing up. But this is strictly an MLB problem. They can't. It goes back to their inability to market the sport. I mean, you look at the Steelers and the Browns. They haven't been really great at the same time going back decades. There's always juice in that rivalry, and that's probably not even a top 5, top 7 rivalry in the NFL. I think once you get in the postseason stage, well, that's like manufactured. There you go. It's a big stage. But for a regular season game in June, I'm up for it. I'm a diehard. Those games are on national TV. They will not see the same, obviously, because the play on the field, but also the inability over the years, and this has been snowballing for a while, to market the game. It's a shame, because best rivalry in sports right now, I would not say so. In American sports of all time, I think that's still the answer.
Well, here's another problem that the only thing that you can develop a rivalry in nowadays is when you meet in the playoffs. And the only way the Yankees and the Red Sox can meet in the playoffs is in the wild card. Now, back in the day when you were competing to win the division and only 4 teams went to the playoffs, it was a big deal, that regular season rivalry. But now that you've added wild cards, a second wild card, now a third wild card, why do you think Yankee-Astros are such a big deal? They played in the League Championship Series. Like, so for a long time, Yankees-Red Sox, all you had was the regular season. And then 03 and 04, when they were playing in the League Championship Series, that was when it was really at its height, and Pedro throwing Zimmer down and all that, where you really had hatred. But most of that comes from the postseason. I don't know how baseball can market it any differently, Peter. Every time the Yankees and Red Sox play, you know, Saturdays on Fox, Sundays
they
ESPN,
try.
Sunday Night Baseball. I don't know how else you could promote it. The fact is that the Yankees and the Red Sox, over the last 20 years, since 04, how many times can you say have they been the 2 best teams in baseball, that they've really been going head-to-head? I mean, I think most recently it's been Yankees-Astros, it's been Yankees-Rays, now it's Yankees-Orioles, because the Orioles are so good. They haven't been both really good in a long time, and I think that's why it's kind of died.
Let's go to Carl.
Hi, Carl.
Roosevelt Island. You don't hear from Roosevelt Island every day, Don.
How's it going over there?
Hey, Carl. What's happening?
How you doing, Don?
Good, but what's up? Hey, say hi to Peter.
Hey.
It's uncomfortable.
Hey, Carl. Yeah, I said hi first. Hey, Carl.
This is my point. If Juan Soto wants to leave for more money, it's not going to be any skin off of my apple, and I'm going to give you my explanation why.
Why?
Well, because I know that next spring we're going to have Dominguez and Spencer Jones both competing for an outfield position, and either one of them are probably going to be playing next to
Aaron Judge.
The captain.
Yeah, Aaron Judge.
Next season.
Here, Carl, I hear what you're saying, and I love the optimistic view if you lose Soto, but we don't know if Dominguez and Jones are going to end up being anywhere close to the player Juan Soto is. You want to try to keep him. That conversation, no skin off my apple, that comes the day Juan Soto signs someplace else. But right now, you got to be rooting for Juan Soto to stick with your team. Look how good they are when they're together. I can't sign off on that. I've never heard, no skin off my
apple. Never heard it.
I never. Astabula, I've heard that because of League of Their Own.
I don't remember that either.
No, you don't remember that?
I love the movie, remember it well, but I don't remember the
what's his name? John Lovitz. Oh, that's the skin off my Astabula.
He was the commentator.
No,
he was the
scout.
Scout. No, don't.
I think you should rewatch that movie.
I just did. Part meant nothing to me.
Now,
didn't hit me.
Well, here. Okay, so that's more on John Lovitz than you, I guess. But the big conversation there, big conspiracy there.
About what? The movie?
Did Dottie drop the ball on purpose?
Yes. Yeah.
See, that's not how you grow the sport.
I know, exactly. I knew you were going to go there.
Because she was a petulant child. That's one of the characters I hate the most. I hated Kit. She was a spoiled little jealous brat. She was. I'm sorry, Dottie was better. Clearly better. She was jealous. Why couldn't she just take advantage? You're on the team. She forces a trade because Dottie was getting all the attention. I'm sorry, Dottie was better than you. And then you're playing her in the World Series for the championship, and now Dottie's got to purposely drop the ball so Kit gets her win? Sorry, you're not good enough. Dottie dropping the ball delegitimized the whole league and the whole sport, and it set women's sports back to this day.
Now, but by the way, we could be wrong. It is hard to tell. It's a complete.
Well, that's because you said you thought that she did it on purpose.
When I think
never wanted to believe that.
But neither do I. Now that I think about it, I'd like to change my mind.
Because they're showing the twins wore the outfits. It's one of my favorite movies of all time.
It's a great movie.
But I absolutely loathe the Kit character. She made me sick. She was just a petulant child.
So between Kit and what's her face in Titanic?
Oh, it's close.
Who do you hate more?
Well, because Rose was pure evil. Kit was just a big baby.
Right, so you hate Rose more.
Rose, she strategically took people down. She didn't care about her family. I think Kit loved Dottie. She was just jealous of Dottie.
Got it.
Rose didn't care about her family at all.
Nobody.
She only cared about herself.
And her urges.
Plus, she was just as loose as you could be in 1912. The fact that she slept.
Okay. You know what?
No, think about it. The fact that she slept with a stranger on the Titanic is the 21st century version of doing a whole football game.
We'll be right back on Yes and 98.7 ESPN. Coming up at 6.
Anthony Busick vehicle.
Yeah, I'm a fan. I enjoy that.
And Grassa in the building.
Yeah, I saw the Grossinator. Seemed good.
Yeah, he was at Jets camp today, so I'm sure there's a lot of Jet conversation.
Speaking of which, if you somehow are late to the program, God, you are a loud swallower. Anyone ever told you that?
I'm sorry. It's just the microphones are just good.
I know, but you like this. It's a lot. The swigging. Am I the only one, Anthony? You don't ever notice it? I'm the only one who hears it? Because I get very criticized for all of my things. You
not
don't notice,
from me.
No, not from you. But you don't notice that Don's swigging and swallowing is like very loud sometimes?
I haven't heard it that much. I'm slightly distracted at the present moment.
Was everything all right?
No, I don't know.
Really?
Did something happen?
We'll talk during the break.
Oh, no. Now he's got
It's
me
a full
worried.
10 minutes from
What
now.
did I do now? I'm sure I did something. Was my Rose conversation controversial?
Might have been.
Yeah.
God, I tried to play the play-out music. I do my best to protect you.
Thank you.
All right, if you're late to the show or to the world, Robert Salah earlier today.
So we got 2 inexcused absences. One obviously being Hassan. Spoke to him over the weekend. Appreciate the dialogue. He's in a really good place mentally, working his tail off like we already know, and he's choosing to sit out this one inexcused. The second one is Aaron. Aaron and I spoke before OTA started.
I love how casual it is.
Very good in communication. He's been here the entire time. It's inexcused, but he had an event that was very important to him, which he communicated.
So, as for the Reddick of it all, Salah says he's not concerned.
I'm not concerned. I understand everything that's happening, but at the same time, I know when it comes time to play football, like I said before, he's going to be ready to play football.
I mean, so you hope. What about Rodgers? Are you disappointed?
No, it's, again, selfishly, I want all our guys here all the time. But, when you get to these mandatory things, it's, you make the best decision for yourself. And obviously, selfishly, want all of them here all the time. But he made a decision, and that's what he went with.
That's the bigger thing than Rodgers. Rodgers is sexy. Like, why is he not at mini camp and all that? But they got to resolve this. He's too important a player on defense to have this be any kind of an issue. But both are unexcused, and we'll see how this goes. They don't need any kind of issues at all in what is such a colossally important season for them.
Let's hear from Marcus Spears.
Okay.
On Aaron Rodgers missing minicamp.
It is excused because it's Aaron Rodgers. He can do what the hell he wants. He's been doing it since he got there, okay? This is his organization and his franchise. It's not necessarily the reps that I care about that Aaron Rodgers is missing. Aaron Rodgers is going to play well if he's healthy, and he's been there, like he said, in the offseason program. It was a lot of moves made with this team this offseason. Minicamp is usually, that first mandatory minicamp is usually when you have everyone together to build that rapport on the field. You get into a lot of things that you will do during the season. So that's my concern with his synergy that's going to have to coexist with the new offensive line. He's back off of, obviously, an Achilles tear, getting on the same page, and then just being in the huddle and hearing his voice.
So do what I say, not as I do. Do as I say, not as I do. He's the one that said it's all about football, no distractions, and this could be a moment to kind of get everybody together, and he's not here. The whole idea that is it excused, I don't... It sounds to me like when we find out what it is, the Jets don't want any part of it.
Well, how could they? How much? It's not ideal, but also, what are you going to do? This is what the situation is going to be.
Yeah, and again,
especially for minicamp.
People think I'm being critical of the Jets for not having the backbone to stand up to Aaron Rodgers. How could you? Under the current circumstances, how could you? You desperately need a quarterback. He's the only chance you have at winning that elusive Super Bowl. He forfeited millions of dollars for you to be able to go out and get free agents. If he wants to do something, how are you supposed to say no? And plus, you have a neophyte as a coach that hasn't won anything. This isn't Bill Belichick. This is Robert Salah, who's had, 3 losing seasons as a head coach of the Jets. What exactly can he do? Joe Douglas, this is his first job as a general manager in the NFL. So it's all conspired to have Aaron Rodgers do whatever he wants, and I can't be mad at the Jets for it. This is what they signed up for. But how are you going to tell Aaron Rodgers what to do? You gave him the keys to the castle.
It's his now.
It's his now, and he's going to do what he wants to do. So it's probably just the semantics of it's unexcused because he'll still get fined because of the CBA. And when we find out whatever he's doing that he can't go to minicamp, the Jets can say, hey, listen, he was fine. We didn't excuse it. But How can you tell him no? How?
Well, I have good news, Don.
What's that?
Do you remember for a while, Paul in Trenton was really not focused on the Yankees. He was all in on the Rangers.
Yes, he was.
He's very positive.
Very positive.
Don't worry. He's back.
He's back.
Paul in Trenton wants to talk about the Yankees again now. That worries me. What do you got, Paul?
Yeah, you're back.
It's just one comment. You know, Mike used to say most of the Yankee fans dislike Aaron Boone and hate Aaron Boone.
Right.
Well, you know what? Yesterday was a perfect example why I do not like Aaron Boone.
Go ahead.
How can you sit Judge after he's hitting so much? How do you either sit him and Stanton? You take two guys that hit home runs out of the lineup. You know, if I was a kid in Kansas City, I would have told my father, let's go. Let's get the hell out of here. That's not right. Boone is wrong.
So you hate Aaron Boone because there might be a kid in Kansas City who didn't see Aaron Judge?
I'm a Yankees fan. I want the Yankees to win.
Well,
but
they
in
won.
the same token, I want Boone to lose.
But why? You won the game. You won the game.
It
now,
doesn't
do you really
matter. Think about it. You got two kids. If they wanted to see, and that was the only night they can go and see Aaron Judge, he wasn't playing. Is that fair? Do you think that's fair?
I don't. Listen, you make a very good point that I do feel sad for that kid in Kansas City who wanted to see Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton play. But that's the reason you hate Aaron Boone? You only want to see the Yankees win, which they did last night, but you're going to hate your manager because of that 12-year-old kid in Kansas City that missed out seeing two-star Yankee players. Still got to see Juan Soto play.
Still
got
to win.
pitch.
Got to win.
Keep quiet.
If you want to hate Aaron Boone, hate Aaron Boone. But hate him for any other reason but some kid in Kansas City that went to a game on a Monday night and didn't get to see Stanton or Judge. Like, that's a reason to hate Aaron Boone? And I don't think Boone just decided out of the blue, you know what? I don't want Judge to play. I'm sure the organization said, all right, 67 consecutive games. You know what? We're going to sit him down. All right, that's a conversation that we can have. But you've decided to hate on Aaron Boone because of that little kid. Let's give him a name, Petey. Little Petey in Kansas City. But he grew up a Yankee fan for whatever reason. Maybe he's a military brat, bounced around, happened to spend some time in the Bronx when he was 6 years old, when Aaron Judge first came up. And he waited all year, all his school year. His dad told him, be good at school. Do all your homework. Get straight A's. And I promise you, when the Yankees come to town on Monday, June 10th, I'm going to get you tickets so you can see your favorite player, Aaron Judge. And then his dad takes him after he gets straight A's and never missed a day of class. Perfect student. And then he shows up to Kauffman Stadium or wherever they call it now. And he sits down in his seat with his popcorn and his little glove, hoping to get a foul ball. And then he hears that Aaron Judge isn't in the lineup. Try not to choke up, Peter. And Judge is in the lineup. Boy, that piece of garbage, Aaron Boone. Why can't he be more forward-thinking and think about that little kid, Petey, the 12-year-old in Kansas City, who is dying to see Aaron Judge play? I had trouble getting through that. Oh, but it's okay in the NBA when little Mario decides to go to a game in Sacramento to see his idol, LeBron James, who doesn't play because of load management. Or little Francisco in Phoenix, who all he wanted to do was save up his money to be able to go to his son's game to see KD play. And he didn't play. Think about that.
That's what Paul cares about.
You know what? I take it all back.
Thank you. That's
Paul.
Point God. Thomas in Jersey. Hey, Thomas.
Hey, how you guys doing? How you doing,
yourself?
Peter and Don? I'm doing pretty good. So I'm calling up. Just you guys were talking before the commercial about the Yankees-Red Sox rivalry. How it really hasn't been doing much of nothing in the last 20 years. So basically, my response to that is I agree with you, but I don't think it's dead yet. In 2018, you had the Tyler Austin Joe Kelly fight, and that whole season kind of let up. There was a little bit of a race at the end. The Yankees kind of faded late, but they played them in the ALDS. Ended up getting smacked, but recently, I mean, I feel like if the Red Sox weren't absolute garbage, there would still be a pretty decent rivalry.
No, but right now, who do you hate more, the Red Sox or the Astros?
I mean, historically, I hate the Red Sox more.
But right now,
recency bias. Astros.
Yeah, and right now, you're probably going to be in a pennant race with the Orioles, so that's a team that you're kind of focused on. Listen, it's very fluid. I'm just saying that I never understood, Thomas, why it was a rivalry in the first place, considering the fact that up until 2004, the Red Sox always folded under the heat of that rivalry. But right now, it could be regenerated again. There's no question. It really didn't exist at all in the 80s. You probably had more of a rivalry with the Detroit Tigers in the 80s or the Blue Jays than you did with the Red Sox. So it's very fluid. But right now, it seems like it's taken a bit of a downturn.
Yeah, I agree, Don.
Thank you, Thomas, for the phone call.
Appreciate you, Thomas. You're a good man. Hey, coming up next right here is the Point God, and it's going to be a doozy. And then we have a Pusick-led ENN. Hey, Don, are you worried about your home safety?
Chris Sheeran back here for the Michael K. Show. Carlos Rodon continued tearing through the opposition last night in Kansas City, a place where he admitted he would like to forget, considering the last time out in Kansas City for him, September 29th last season, where he didn't record an out against the Royals. He allowed 8 runs that day on 6 hits and ended a season to forget for the Yankees lefty. But last night, those demons were exorcised. And then some. Rodon went 7 solid frames, allowed just 1 run, scattered 5 hits, struck out 3, and didn't allow a walk. Quite the contrary from last season to this season for Rodon. You see, he made 14 total starts in an injury-riddled 2023 campaign. And last night was his 14th start already this season. And he just seems like he gets stronger with every time he steps on the mound. He is now tied for the AL lead in wins with the guy he went toe-to-toe with last night in Seth Lugo. And he lowered his ERA to just south of 3. Game 2 of this 4-game set comes your way tonight on Yes, with our coverage commencing at 7 with Nancy Newman and the Batting Practice Show, followed by the pregame and first pitch is scheduled for a little after 8. It's the Yankees and the Royals. Coverage starting at 7 with BPTV right here on Yes, and streaming, of course, on the Yes app.
Let's do math. You know, you can't, in one hand, say, we got to get rid of all the distractions, all the BS. It's got to be about football. You know, and since he said that, we've had him being a candidate to be vice president for Robert Kennedy and never saying anything about it, not dispelling it, letting it hang out there for a week. And now this. And again, in the grand scheme of things, it probably doesn't matter. As long as he's healthy and he balls out, everything's going to be fine. But it is just, it's a little much here. And, you know, mini camp, maybe it's worthless, maybe it's important, I don't know. But he's supposed to be the leader of the team, and something else is more important. What is it? And I'm telling you, we don't know. But if it has anything to do with Robert Kennedy, I'm sorry, that's a bad optic. It doesn't look good. Not from a political standpoint. He's allowed to vote for and support whoever he wants. But, hey, I was just as critical, if you remember, of Woody Johnson when he decided to hand over the reins to Christopher so he can go be the ambassador to the UK. It's like, dude, you own a football team. Shouldn't you care more about that? It's the same thing here. Are you all in or not? And you're all in, mandatory minicamp, you're not there. It better be for a pretty decent reason. And we'll see what it is.
Let's go to Gio in the Bronx. What up, Gio?
Hey, guys. How you doing?
What's up?
My point is this. I think the Yankees-Red Sox rivalry was driven by the Red Sox hate for the Yankees and not the other way around. You know, I'm 40. I don't know what the rivalry was like before that. But, you know, the living uptown, the Dominicans uptown always loved the Red Sox. You know, I never felt any hatred up there. I went to college in Boston. My sister went to high school in Boston. And for wearing a Yankee hat up there, I almost got killed multiple times. And so there was always a massive hate for the Yankees. Yankees number one, payroll. The Red Sox number two.
Yeah.
The Yankees they just couldn't pull past the Yankees, and so they always hated the Yankees. Right? We stole Babe Ruth, that whole curse stuff, but we never. I don't think it was as much cared for here. Like you wanted to beat them, but because they hated you.
But you did hate Ortiz, didn't you?
I did hate Ortiz, but
and you did hate Pedro.
Yes. Well, I mean, Ortiz, I hated less than Pedro. Pedro, I kind of hated.
Well, you hit Jeter, remember?
Yeah. But as a whole, I think once the Red Sox won, then they didn't hate the Yankees anymore. They didn't hate New York anymore. And so, screw them. They're just another team that we have to bulldoze.
Yeah, you're actually you're being logical because, why would you hate the team that always helped you win the championship because they couldn't beat you? But there were people to hate. You hated Roger Clemens. You hated Pedro Martinez. You hated David Ortiz. But up until 2004, they always found a way to lose. So you're right. Why would you hate them? But I think a lot of Yankee fans still looked at them as their number one rival.
Sure.
Thanks for the call, Gio.
Good stuff.
Guess who's on the phone?
Who's that?
Ina and Manny, who we thought apparently was Anna and Manny.
It's Ina?
It's Ina. I don't know how we didn't correct that in the first call.
Okay, sorry about that.
Ina, that's our fault. We apologize. Although you should have corrected us.
Well, you were on a roll, so I didn't want to interrupt you. TCI, by the way. Oh, I'm sorry. That's a different show.
I didn't follow you.
No, he said Tiki. So why are you ripping in us for?
Wait, what's going on?
Oh, she's saying because we screwed up her name, she's going to screw up our name. I see.
Okay.
We're just trying to get to know you a little bit in your sense of humor.
We're trying to figure out. Manny, how are you?
Well, I'm doing fine. I want to let you know we got our
We're going down to see you on the 28th.
Oh, you're going to the beach bash.
This is awesome.
But Don, I have to say, Don, I have to say that when you start singing, I'll leave Manny with you, and then I can leave, and then come back when you're done singing. No, I'm joking.
Ina, why are you coming in so hot?
Yeah,
today?
really hot.
I'm feeling
nothing but now we might have screwed up your name, but nothing but love for you.
Yeah, you got a lot of love on this show.
Yeah.
Wait, I do for you guys. You're great. I watched you.
Born in Holland, so
hey, it's a Dutch thing. Anyway,
well, we're looking forward to seeing you guys.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to meeting you guys too.
Cool, man. I'm looking forward to that. So, Ina and Manny.
We got to work on their timing when they're on the phone together, right? I mean, every great duo requires a little work in terms of getting the timing down. It's hard being a two-man act. You know what I mean?
It is.
You got to
We'll work on it. We'll work on it on the 28th.
Joey in Pittsburgh. What did you have on Rocky, Joey?
Yeah, I just wanted to know, Peter, your top 5 on Rocky. Real quick, mine is to go in order 4, 3, 2, 5, 1.
Hold on.
And I was wondering. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That's your order, best to worst. You have one last.
Well, that was going to be my next question. Is have you ever seen a movie series where the first movie is ranked last?
No, because it's not ranked last. It's first.
Yeah,
you rank it last for whatever reason.
Yeah, Joey,
why would
shocked.
you rank it last?
Yeah, Joey, why do you have it last? Because it has the least action?
It was up for Best Picture. All right, I'm kind of done with you. I think it's the second time he called. I didn't like it the first time. I hate it even more now.
In other words,
have you ever seen it? No, because it shouldn't be. Who in their right mind with the ability to see, feel, taste, smell, hear would have 1/5? If you want to say it's not 1, I'd argue with you, but I'd understand. But who would rank it 5th? No one, except Joey.
No, like a little kid who wants action and doesn't care about the love story.
But that's not just a love story. It's a better picture. It was up for Best Picture. It's the whole reason the other ones exist.
It's the coup de grace. It's the gem.
It made
now Michael's take on 4 being bad is awful. 4 is
5
great.
is bad. We can all universally say, but he didn't have...
Tommy Gunn only fights in the ring.
So did he have...
that.
So by doing... So what did he have? So he didn't have 5 in there. How did he rank it again?
4, 3, 2, 5, 1.
So how would you have 5 ahead of 1?
He hates 1. He doesn't like
5,
romance.
5 is not good.
No, 5 is bad. I have something very good to tell you, though, Don.
I can't imagine.
No, do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
Well, guess what? It's the Beach Bash.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's coming up on June 28th. Apparently, Ina and Manny are going to be there, but we're going to have to work out their routine and get it together.
Yeah.
It's at Bar
Trust
A
Manny.
in Lake Como, New Jersey. It's going to be a great time. Bart and Han, Rick and Dave, us, we will all be there. Plenty of giveaways, plus music from the Mark Ribler brand, and it's all brought to you by Open Road Auto Group, Flight by Yingling, New Jersey Lottery, Calander's Bakery, the New Sun Cruiser Vodka Iced Tea, and General Plumbing Supply. Trust the real experts at GPS. You got to be 21 to get in. You don't have to be 21 for ENN, which is next right here with Anthony Pusick on Yes and ESPN New York.